Hello, good evening folks. Welcome back once again to some more The Life and Suffering of Sir Brante. How are we all doing this fine Sunday evening? Clocks have gone forward for some of us. Cleaned the house inside out, did my laundry and garbage, bowl of popcorn. Sounds like you had a busy day, busier than mine. What have I done? Not right lots. To be honest with you. Still after, oh, what do we know you? We know the geezer. You're what, 7 hours, 6 hours behind? Oh, let me get comfy here. Let me get comfy. Righty-ho! Anyway, welcome everyone. Hope you've had a good weekend. It's time for us to dive back in here with Benedict Brante's story. Let's hope that we continue the theme of the past couple. Only 4 hours, really? I thought more than that. Let's hope that it's similar theme as the past couple of sessions, which is basically just don't die. So what's the only goal that we have? Just stay alive. So anyway, we shall continue onwards to see what lay in store for us today. But don't die twice. Yeah. Twice would be catastrophic. Once would be still quite bad. A long and modest life. Modesty. What kind of game is this? Welcome, Golden Snake. This is a RPG in a narrative storybook manner. It's very good, actually. It's very good. Right, okay. Let's continue on. So we are 21. We are in our youth. No? Yeah? No, we're past youth now, aren't we? We're in peacetime. We're an adult. We're a young adult. 21. It is a peaceful time. And we are an Inquisitor. Wow, it's a long time. Well, welcome. Good to see you. Young and full of beans, exactly. Full of beans and other things. Before we go into this, let's just refresh ourselves of where we are. We're an Inquisitor in the priest estate. 21. We have died twice due to foolishness, really. Our diplomacy is 11, which is promising. Our valor is 6. Our theology is 10. Our eloquence is 7, and our manipulation and scheming are 12 and 11, respectively. Our willpower is 25. We're primed and ready to kick ass if needs be. Look at our hairstyle. Look at that. It's disgusting, isn't it? So we're not doing too badly. Theology clearly is the Inquisitor's stat. So that's getting up there now, slowly but surely. Manipulation, scheming are good for conspirating. Eloquence good for inquisiting, apparently. We're not very eloquent. Who needs eloquence? So look at our house. Reputation tarnished. Wealth, moderate means. And unity, relative peace. The current heir is Stephen, which does make me wonder if Stephen may pop his clogs at some point. Here's the family. My mum is ill, but we got a very good relationship. Our father, we're very indifferent. He wasn't happy we became a priest, by the way. Stephen, indifferent too. There's us with our lovely priestly haircut. We've got Nathan, our younger brother, who we get on really well with. He looks a bit dishevelled, to be honest with you. Still hasn't found a place for himself in society. And Gloria. Get on quite well with Gloria. She's a card, isn't she? She's a strong-willed lady. And then we've got a variety of different people that we've stumbled across. We'll look at them as and when we need to. Currently, Patriarch is Cassius, Patriarch of Magra. A known opponent of the new faith. Overseer Gaius, younger brother of the Emperor, was thrust into this position. So power is currently -1, a bit of a power struggle going on, kind of middle schism here, -2, which is more old faith than new. Wealth of Magra is secure, and currently there's a bit of discontent amongst the people, which is interesting. And here we go, finally, occupation. Inquisition power, the order is strengthening, and currently there is a surveillance of faith, keeping our beady eye on things. We're trying to, we're trying to bring down the Inquisition from within, basically. Hello Radix, welcome. So let's see what lay in store for us today. A gift for the family. Subversion is the name of the game. Yes. That's probably going to get us killed, but anyway, we'll try. This last year has been an ordeal for your family. The pains taken to be ennobled by the sword, the close attention of the city aristocracy, the squabbles between Stephen and Gloria. Tonight, your preoccupied father has gathered the entire family around a table in the backyard. Alfresco dining. The sun has almost set, and there is a soft breeze. But instead of a meal in the open air, you are going to attend a family meeting. Okay, not alfresco dining then. Alfresco meeting. In the middle of the table, you see an open gilded box. It is full of jewels. Archduke Milaniadas himself has bestowed this gift upon us. It is a surprise indeed. I thought you all had a right to know. Father unfolds a letter lying beside the box. Sir Robert Brante, I bestow this precious box upon you and your family as a symbol of the care with which I treat the people of my province. Pray accept this gift and remember with whom the loyalty of the true nobles of Magra lie. Archduke of Magra, Tarquinius of the Milanidas. So this is the Archduke of Magra, known for being obstinate and despotic, notorious even among the Arnians. The gift of jewels. The family stares in amazement at the jewels sparkling in the last rays of sunshine. It's worth quite a fortune, but the Archduke is fully aware that I am on the side of Prefect Elborn and Overseer Gaius Tempest. Could he really expect our loyalty to be bought so brazenly? On the other hand, the Archduke is not demanding anything of us, and our family has borne a lot of expenses recently. Father, no one is forcing you to side with Milanidas. Who are we in comparison to the Archduke anyway? We must not anger him by refusing his gift. The jewels are certainly welcome. They are worthy of being shared with the best families of Anisot. They will pave our way to the nobility of the sword. Mother shakes her head glumly. Oh, Robert, I have a feeling this gift bodes ill. It may be an impertinence on my part, but I do not want our family to be indebted to the Archduke. Certainly not, excepting gifts from Milanidas. He's infamous for oppressing the commoners and robbing villages blind with his taxes. This isn't your decision, Gloria. It's a matter of our family's honour and reputation. Please don't start bickering again. Let Benedict say what he thinks we should do with this gift. You are now the centre of attention. Your vote will be the deciding factor. Sell them. We have no choice. Hello, Nameless Crusader, welcome. Give the jewels to prominent nobles as a gift. We needed to have better relations with Stephen for that one. We could have declined the gift. We needed to have better relations with our father for that. So basically we have no choice, but we have decided upon us that we will sell the jewels for great profit and increase our wealth. Why not? Increases our wealth, decreases our unity. Increases our wealth by 2, in fact. It's not a bad option, is it? I would probably have declined the gift had I have had the opportunity to do so. But nonetheless, we shall sell them. You speak. You insist that the Archduke's jewels should not be declined, but they must not be given away either. Your family's treasury needs an infusion of cash. The family's wealth is as important in the eyes of society as its noble reputation. I don't know, Benedict. Money comes and goes, but our family honour is here to stay. You object, reminding him that in your own lifetime the family has already fallen out of favour and risen again. For the nobles, a family's reputation is just another form of currency. Is there truly nothing more important than money and reputation? Archduke Milanidas is a villain like no other. Our family ought to stay away from him. Simmer down, Gloria. I agree with Benedict. Let it be so. I'll send a note to the Archduke expressing our humblest gratitude, but I'll also point out that I don't mean to change sides. I still serve my prefect and my overseer. In the meantime, Benedict will see to the family coffers. You promptly take the precious box and go inside to start taking an inventory of the jewels. Mother, Gloria and Nathan follow you with forlorn looks. You sell the jewels and easily amass a considerable sum. Your efforts have now ensured that the family treasury will not run short any time soon. Well, in the last session, I seem to recall that we spent some of our wealth doing something. I can't remember what we did, but we decreased our wealth quite close to the end of the session, so it just topped it back up again slightly. But still at peace with the family, it's fine. Oh, that was it, the family portrait, that was it. We ordered the family portrait. Good memory. The Latari Society. Another winter has come to Magra. It has been almost a year since your return home. The Order has gradually been gaining power and influence in Anisot. The Inquisition ward is no longer as deserted as it once was. It is now filled with the hushed voices of young Inquisitors and the heavy, echoing footfalls of the champions of faith. You and Jean are only assigned cases of low importance. Inquisitor Ulrich has taken it upon himself to investigate all cases related to Patriarch Cassius personally. Rarely, if ever, does Ulrich ask the two of you for assistance, but today of all days, unexpectedly, he has requested a word with you. For the first time ever, you visit his cell, a spacious yet aesthetically furnished room. Ulrich is sitting on a plain-looking stool behind a humble desk when you enter. A lash hangs on the wall across from you. There is a disturbing air about it. Inquisitor Benedict, there is a certain special case I'd like to entrust to you. There is a society that exists in Anisot. They study the culture of Latari, an ancient civilization that is long extinct. This is a society only for nobles. Most of its members are young and carefree. You come from a noble family. You know their manners and their etiquette, which is why you will be going there. By the will of the twins, the parents of one such carefree young nobleman have found a book in his possession, an odd book indeed, and they brought it here. He points at the book lying on the desk in front of him. The front of the metal-bound tome bears an engraving. Vidas of the Latari people, a translation by Master Newman, professor of the Imperial College. Hello, Ollie. Upon his family's insistence, this noble, a young man by the name of Arno L. Rancor, paid us a visit. He claimed he had done nothing wrong and insisted that the Society's meetings are just like any other noble party. The only unusual thing about them is their theme. They read the poetry of an extinct civilization. They wear peculiar clothing. They hide their faces behind masks of gold the same colour as the skin of the Latari. But he let it slip that a certain mystery is about to take place at their next gathering. His explanation was quite incomprehensible, but the young El Rancor was very excited indeed. I convinced him to donate his invitation and mask to us. His code name is AL. This society has not gained much popularity just yet, but they must have a patron of considerable influence. What if Patriarch Cassius is the one behind it, and this society is what we have been warned about? One way or another, we must arrest the heretics and make Cassius pay for allowing such a sect to exist. Your mission is to find out what they're up to. You must act quickly before they learn that we have El Rancor. My squad of champions of faith will follow you. They will assist you in rounding up the apostates. You nod. At last you finally have an important case to investigate. You recall the history books you read and studied long ago. The Latari were an old civilization, an ancient race of magic wielders who worshipped false gods and even enjoyed a brief alliance with the Empire. Around 200 years ago, the Latari disappeared from the face of the world, just like all other lesser civilizations. Father Ulrich presents you with a gilded mask. The Society's meeting place is a noble mansion on the outskirts of Anisot. As you ride a carriage to the Latari Society, you lean back on the cushions and close your eyes. What do you know of this dead civilization? The most important thing you can remember is that the Latari believed that true existence was the product of their own will. They thought the world around them was an illusion, a dream of their own making. You cannot help but wince at the thought. The world was created by the will of the twins, not the will of mortal creatures. No wonder they rid the world of the Latari. The carriage stops. You meet with a small squad of the champions of faith in an alley near the mansion. The squad is led by one Captain David Agorinim, a grizzled, muscled swordsman hailing from Arkmia. His naturally grim face is made even more hideous by a number of battle scars. Good evening, Inquisitor Brante. We'll be right nearby. Give us a sign and we'll come to your aid. The mansion is large but inconspicuous. You see noble carriages in the courtyard, many more than you had expected. The gatekeepers bow and open the gates as soon as they see you. It seems the mask is enough to convince them you belong inside. You are ushered into a dressing room of sorts. A change of clothes already awaits you inside. It is unlikely any garment you have ever seen, a square of flowing, sparkling cloth with clasps and cords to keep it in place. The servants help you into this bizarre garb. You cannot help but feel rather silly and uneasy, dressed like this. But on your chest, behind the costume, rests the symbol of the twins, filling you with strength. The champions of faith await nearby, ready to come to your aid. You can do this. Next, a large hall. The windows are covered in black cloth to keep prying eyes away. What seems at first to be a strange performance is playing out before your very eyes. You hear droning, unfamiliar music coming seemingly from nowhere. People fill the hall, dressed in flowing robes and delicate gilded masks with narrow slits for eyes. You approach one of the groups hoping to overhear the subject of their conversation, and almost recoil when several arms reach out at once, attempting to grasp you tenderly by the shoulder. Steeling yourself, you put a hand on another person's forearm. You do not remember the last time you allowed yourself to touch another human being. The masked people seem friendly and genial. No one appears surprised by your insecurity. They continue their conversations as they accept you into their circle. Their conversations are also quite out of the ordinary. You hear unfamiliar names names that could belong to legendary heroes of the Latari, or people here who have taken them as secret identities. You hear references to books you do not know, and the emotions these people felt while reading them. You listen, as though in a dream. You hear several voices singing in a distant corner of the room. There are no lyrics to the song. Each voice maintains its own note. Together they form a tender, softly aching melody. The circle of people next to yours begin to move in a strange, slow dance. Their movements are unlike any dance you know. Their intertwined arms become an embrace, and that embrace then becomes intertwined arms yet again. You see golden faces moving all around, and you suddenly realise, with perfect clarity, that you are part of this dance too. You are one of them, one with them. You are more than you have ever been before. It is so alluring. It is true greatness. It is power, limitless, endless power. Your back is perfectly straight now, your head held high, as though you have actually glimpsed another world through your eyes during the short time you have spent here. What other eyes? The eyes of a noble? The eyes of the Latari? The entire world is but the dream of the Latari. The symbol of the faith grows very warm beneath your clothing. It clears your mind and helps you break free from the illusion. You are here for a purpose. Without a sound, you mouth a prayer. The younger defender of the world, aid me so I may serve thee further. Bring order back into my soul. The elder, the spirit of truth and love, aid me so I may bear thy word further. Fill my mind with purpose. You hear whispers of admiration all around you. An Archnean woman of below average height, clad in a long cloak and a silver mask, descends the stairs into the hall. Oh, Lady Octavia has something truly special for tonight, says a voice next to you. And there she is, the secret patron of the Latari Society, Archduchess Octavia Melanidas, the Archduke's own daughter, heiress to the province of Magra. She smiles at everyone gathered here, her pitch-black eyes surveying the hall. The Latari were a great civilization with a wondrous and beautiful culture. Their disappearance from the world is an immense tragedy. Thank you all for coming. We have been united by a shared aspiration to understand the culture of the Latari. We have learned so much already, but the mystery of the circle of Latari remains inaccessible to us. Today, some of you shall aid me as we investigate this mystery. Please close your eyes and listen. The time is coming when what must be said, when the thought becomes the word, when the word becomes the world. Thus spake the Latari. And at this hour we have come together to form this circle to make our thoughts reality. The Latari made us with the word, and with ourselves we shall make the world. Thus spake the Latari. Only that which is unchanging exists. Only that which is real is eternal. Motion is death. All that changes is an illusion that makes naught of aught. Thus spake the Latari. Only one thing in this world is unchanging, the Latari. The Latari is the world, for it is all that is real. Thus spake the Latari. As she speaks, Octavia moves elegantly through the crowded hall. Her words enchant and mesmerize. The people in the hall are swaying, seemingly entranced. Octavia stops and whispers something to several chosen members. They walk away, deeper into the mansion. Octavia approaches you as well, this close. You can smell her perfume. Isn't she the one that dropped the hanky? She the one that dropped the hanky? Sure it was her. She the one that dropped the hanky? I recognise the perfume. Come with us too, AL. Check relations. I didn't want to move away from the screen. The long hallway ends in a dark room. Octavia is the last to enter. Enter the circle, O chosen ones, and join hands. Direct your thoughts and feelings towards the circle center, towards me. Become one with me. Become one inside the circle. Become Latari. One of the people in the circle begins a droning melody. Others join in the song. Candles burn. There are strange ritualistic symbols inscribed on the floor. You look at them closer. They depict colourful intertwined dragons. A long, thin knife appears in Octavia's hands. Oh, Jesus. The gods are merciful to us, the Latari, their chosen kin. They granted us their sacred laws. The one true faith resides therein. We, Latari, were thus the first creations of immortal gods. The moon sees all it comes across, yet none are equal to our cause. Death is our enemy no more. Eternal foe of mortal life. Should it come closer than before, then neither run to it nor hide. The tempo increases, the song becoming disjointed, chaotic, yet somehow orderly and right. The sacred symbol under your costume feels so hot it burns your flesh. Something is happening, and it is offensive in the eyes of the twins. So heed the law of Latari, one older than the very sky. He who wakes shall prosper, he who sleeps shall die. As she speaks these final words, Octavia Melanidas discards her cloak. She is naked, her beautiful body completely uncovered. The song reaches its climax. Those standing in the circle sway from side to side, their eyes rolled back. They are lost in a trance. Octavia holds a knife to her wrist. She pierces the skin, then makes a long cut along her arm. Bluish blood begins to trickle down her fingers and onto the floor. Octavia raises the knife above her other wrist. A moment more and the ritual will reach its culmination. Should you intervene? Oh, hell. No. Oh no, we can't. We can't do anything else. I don't want to arrest them. Oh no. I would have become part of the circle if I'd had a chance. I would have continued to play the game. Oh no. That sucks. Oh. Why do we have to be a Jobsworth? Oh, okay. So we're going to arrest the apostates as asked. You rush out of the circle of Latari and call for the champions of the faith. We gain Inquisitor power, we lose tolerance of faiths, and we gain theology. Okay. Alright. Gaining theology is a good thing, because I think we need some more theology. We're maintaining our cover. Clearly we are. It's not time to show our hand just yet. No. You break free of the circle. Out of this house. The song behind you stops and dies. You hear bodies fall to the floor, one after another. Run! You have to run! You do not look back as you run outside. You rip the mask from your face and wave your arms. The champions of faith appear before you at once. Hurry! The house is full of apostates who must be arrested at once. The champions of faith storm the mansion. Some of the nobles make a futile attempt at resistance. Most surrender without a fight. You return to the dark room deep within the mansion. The ritual has been cut short. The people are still on the floor, collapsed unconscious. Octavia Melanidas is on her knees, nude and bleeding. You clutch at a thin silver slab with a prayer to the elder etched into the metal. Twins, grant me the power of healing. As the slab dissolves in a silvery glow, light begins to emanate from your hands. The wounds on Octavia's body flash white. Slowly, they begin to knit. Octavia Melanidas is returned to her father. The Archduke of Magra expresses his profound gratitude to the Inquisition and promises to see it personally that his progeny is returned to the faith. His dynasty now bears a mark of great shame. The other nobles await their execution. One by one, under the watchful eye of Inquisitor Ulrich, the wayward souls ascend the pyres to face the judgment of the twins. The Latari Society quickly becomes the talk of the entire city. How could this have happened in Magra, of all places? Many turn to Patriarch Cassius for answers. For the first time in a long while, he has none. This marks the end of your first year back home. No, Ollie, clearly we're not incompetent. It's all about picking the right times to blow the cover. And clearly this was not the right time. Don't you worry, folks. We'll crack it. We'll crack it there. We'll get there in the end. We hope. There you go. Extra theology, always good. I've got a good feeling we'll be undercover for the whole game. As long as we're gaining theology, we'll be fine. We'll go with the flow, gain theology, and then we'll use that against them. It's too soon to make a move. An old friend. Hey, this ain't going to be our mate Thomas, is it? Night is falling over Anizot. The stifling heat gives way to an eagerly anticipated freshness. After a day at work, you stroll home at a leisurely pace. You turn down a side street that you have known since you were a little boy. It is as if your legs are acting of their own accord, bringing you to the place of your childhood. The remnants of the wooden fort. I've got a rat in its gob. So much has changed since the days when you used to play here with your little friends. It is Thomas! Okay, we have come across Thomas. Unruly brown hair, twinkling eye, a tall figure in a Legion officer uniform. Look at him, all grown up. Now, that's a surprise. Hi, Brante. Fancy running into you the moment I'm back in town. Bear with me. I have to keep an eye on the WhatsApp this evening because I do intend to play football this Wednesday for a change, so I have to get my name down in time. So just bear with me one moment. Okay, hello Thomas! Fancy seeing you here. Your childhood friend puts his arms around you. Our battalion got transferred here recently. We're under the command of the Magra Legion now. I'm keeping the peace and maintaining order in my very own province. Well, why don't we catch up? Let me buy you dinner. We'll have a little chat. Remember the old days? Thomas cuts himself short. You suddenly notice how much older he looks. His face has become sharper and rougher, and his eyes are filled with exhaustion rather than their usual mischievous sparkle. I should warn you though, Benedict, I ain't the best company nowadays. I've managed to get myself some powerful enemies already. I'm a friend who could taint your good name, so if you'd rather not be seen with me, well, I understand. The smile on his face starts to fade. We can't walk away. So we would have had dinner with Thomas anyway, so this is not a bad thing. You aren't about to miss a chance to spend some time with your old friend, no matter what kind of danger he's in. Maybe we could help him. So this gets us willpower, increases our relations with Thomas, decreases our family reputation because we're seen with somebody that's got some trouble following him around. Okay, that's not good, but hey, An old friend, okay. You shake hands firmly. So, you haven't forgotten your old friend, Brante? That's the way it ought to be. Well, come on then. You go to a tavern, reminiscing about your childhood antics on these very streets along the way. You choose a table in the far corner of the tavern. Thomas orders a bottle of good wine and some food. You talk about your latest case, about your first years back in Anizor. You share family news, your quest to become nobles of the sword, the quarrels between your elder brother and sister, your mother's health. Thomas nods with concern. Sounds like you've had some tough times. Your family has always been different. Mine, on the other hand, is the same as it ever was. My pa is always in his workshop and my ma's always doing chores. But look at me. I came home a service-class nobleman. Although it doesn't bring me much joy anymore. Thomas is suddenly grim. You ask your old friend to share his troubles with you. He quickly glances around the room and lowers his voice. Well, I'm a captain in the Magran Legion now. And who's our commander? His Excellency Dorius Otten. That's right. I serve under the very same Archleon whose toes I stepped on back in Eterna. And you better believe he remembers me. I'm afraid things are going to end real bad. But hey, I'll figure it out somehow. Don't trouble yourself over it. Apart from that, well, it's the usual service. We impose order in uppity towns and villages, protect the province, that sort of thing. And we run drills all day long, obviously. If only you knew how sick I am of the barracks, Benedict. I've thought about starting a family. My ma keeps telling me to find a nice girl to marry. She says it's high time I got hitched. It's completely dark, and you are still talking. Finally, Thomas remembers that his parents are waiting for him. You get up from the table, leaving some dirty dishes and quite a few empty bottles behind. On your way out, you catch a glimpse of a nondescript figure following you to the door. As you walk alongside Thomas through your home neighbourhood, you keep glancing over your shoulder, but the shadow that was following you has disappeared. You reach your street and stop for a while in the semi-darkness between your family homes, just as you used to all those years ago. Bye, Brante. I hardly ever come to Anizot these days. Our battalion is always on the march, all over the province. But twins willing, we'll see each other again real soon. You advise your friend to safeguard his every life. His every life. How many have you got left, Thomas? Hopefully more than I do. Bloody hell. We're cutting it fine with 2. Reputation? Tarnished honour. Once again. Oh dear. But at least we have willpower. To brush off the gossip mongers. In the shadow of the tree. Alright. As the Archduke and Overseer fight for power in Magra, the common people bear the brunt of their conflict. Incensed speeches begin to fill the city. The temple by the White Tree seems to be the only place in the city free from the endless talk of taxation. Today, the worshippers in the temple are few, all of them poor people from nearby districts. Some thank the twins for the peace they have brought to the world. Some beg for a sign from above. One little boy is on his knees praying for prosperity. He has yet to learn that it is an error to rely on the twins' aid, even as you pray, for they are not our servants, but the rulers of this world. You approach the altar, bow your head, and whisper a prayer for unity in the Brante home. O Elder, the spirit of truth and love, I thank thee for my family. Aid them and let them abide in peace and tolerance. Though our woes may hide the gift of thy love, may we never refuse thy bounty. To your sorrow, the strife in your family home has proven to be far worse than you had ever expected from the letters. You never thought the quarrel between Gloria and Stephen would go this far. The temple gradually fills with people as noon approaches. Midday is the hour of the sermon. A priest steps up to the altar, leaning on a staff. The trim of his white cassock is embroidered with gold. He bears a book at his side entitled Lives of the Twins. It is rarely quoted even among religious scholars, most of the faithful rely on the teachings of Eusebius. You recognize this man from the sacred conclave, Abbot Leonard. Brothers and sisters, today I shall speak of the new faith, of its nature and its meaning. Many among you already know it in your hearts, but now I seek to find the words to help you understand it with your minds. For our hearts and minds alike forever seek the path to the twins. We have all known the doctrines of the old belief and the teachings of Eusebius since childhood. Prophet Eusebius, who lived more than 1,000 years ago, wrote that the twins granted us all 3 lots to govern us. And 3 lots there are, one for each estate of the empire, nobles, commoners, and priests. And so, more than 1,000 years we have lived by these lots, and by the teachings of Eusebius. For it is said that, as you follow your lot, you are brought closer to the twins, and after true death, that awaits us all at the end of the path, we shall be brought to the peak of the shining pillar. But now I implore you to look at the blessed Archduke Empire. What was it like during the time of Eusebius, and what is it like now? Nowadays, no commoner may live by the sweat of his brow alone, in his home and in his trade. Even a commoner must lead and rule. And what of the nobles? Their lot commands them to fight, but where will they fight if the blessed Archduke Empire now extends from sea to shining sea, when all her enemies are gone? The lots of Eusebius were once our path to the twins, but now they have become our shackles. Can you ever reach the peak if you walk a path that is impassable? The law that Eusebius gave cannot say. The old belief has no more answers for us, only questions. I have been a priest for over 30 years, and every day I have considered this question and found no answers. That is, until our mentor Fotis appeared. Fotis said, "He who breaks beneath the burden of his lot shall be guilty of the worst sin of all, the sin of rejecting the twins." Is this how we are to reach the peak of the pillar? Is this what the twins want from us? And Fotis said, "If the empire in which we live has changed over time, should not the faith change along with it?" And the new faith says, "Do not confuse your worldly life and the estate into which you were born with your spiritual life, where each of us must find the twins on his own. And so may every person find his own lot, his own path to the twins." God, he harps on this guy, doesn't he? "If a noble must suffer in order to purify his heart and fill it with the love of the twins, then such is his path. And if a commoner enjoys the fruits of her labour and thanks the twins for their gifts, then let this be her path to the top of the shining pillar. The priest's calling is to offer guidance, so that each of us can find his way to the twins, to their law, will, and love, and thus to bliss in the hereafter. Many servants of the church still persevere in their rejection of the new faith. They find it difficult to reject what they have long considered to be the unshakable foundation of all existence. They find it difficult to face the truth. Let us pray to the twins that the guiding light of the new faith will find them as well. It's more razzmatazz. Those people in the temple kneel and bend their heads in silent prayer. The abbot prays along with them. Some, however, remain on their feet. These people shake their heads with expressions of distrust and disapproval. The sermon ends. You feel it is time for you to leave, but then you notice the abbot motioning for you to stay. He walks up to you with a smile, as if seeing an old friend. He gestures for you to sit on a pew. Inquisitor Benedict, we have not been introduced yet. I am Father Leonard, but you probably know that by now. How do I know you? Why, it's no miracle. A good friend of mine, Augustin Elborn, told me about you. He is a friend of your family. Sir Elborn is a long-standing follower of the new faith, and I have taken it upon myself to act as his counsellor in matters of the faith. That is certainly good to know, but what does Abbot Leonard want from you? I am aware that the Inquisition has come to Magra to investigate a report against Patriarch Cassius. I am aware of this because I was the one who wrote the report. You stare at the abbot in surprise. What could possibly have motivated him to do this? You see, the Patriarch and I have known each other for many years. We used to engage in debates quite often on the nature of the twins, on the teachings of Eusebius and Fotis, and the paths that serve to guide people to the peak. For all those years, matters such as these were of great concern to Cassius. He used to remember the purpose of his service at all times. He used to truly care for people. But now, something has changed him. As he is now, all Cassius desires is power. His sermons are filled with lies and pretense. He has gained the support of the old believers, and now he accuses us of apostasy and heresy against the twins. But in truth, he serves the twins no longer. Our opinions often differed, but my most recent conversation with Cassius left me terrified. I expected him to accuse the new faith once again of straying from the true path to the peak, but the Patriarch suddenly questioned the importance of guiding people to the twins at all. The Patriarch of Magra, of all people, told me this, Benedict, the man who addresses the twins in the name of the entire congregation, the man who must be the embodiment of purity and virtue for his flock. I wrote my report and sent it to the order immediately after we spoke. I'm glad to see you got here so quickly. But if you ever find the proof of my words, what will you do? What awaits Magra if the sacred tribunal of the Inquisition condemns Cassius? You may have noticed a delicate situation in our province by now. Magra is the birthplace of the new faith, and many worshippers have been eager to take the teachings of Fotis to heart, and yet the priests in Magra remain deeply bound by the old traditions. Can you imagine the chasm of misunderstanding that now separates the clergy from their flock? And yet, should Patriarch Cassius be cast out of the faith, the conclave will most likely elect another ardent old believer in his place. The gulf between the clergy and the fold, the old faith and the present day, it will only grow deeper. It is, in my opinion, however, that there is another way out, which is why I must beg you for your aid. Tell me, if you may, what is the foundation of every faith and belief? It's not books, or rituals, or temples. No, it's people. Our church has forgotten this, but it is the people who must choose the guide they will follow to the shining pillar. I know you came to Anisot to weed out heretics and apostates, but I am begging you, please do not judge in haste. The fear of punishment paralyzes those who are on the way to the new faith. Please allow them to seek answers on their own. They might stumble along the way, but this is the price we must pay to blaze our own trail. And when all is said and done, the new faith will be our salvation. For Magra, for the Empire, and for every person who lives within it. Ooh, hang on, folks. Hang on, folks. Bear with me. Right, got myself into the football for Wednesday. Here's where we make our intention known. Right, okay, so we can refuse Father Leonard or we can help Father Leonard. Right, I mean, at some point... At what point do we Do we play our hand, eh? This Father Leonard speaks sense to me. Let's have a look at the implications here. I'm leaning towards helping. A promise is made, and Father Leonard's +2, or we can just basically lose relations with Father Leonard. Okay, and pointing out the flaws of the new faith. Yeah, we lack the eloquence or the shield of the old faith destiny to do that. So, yes, we either choose to help or refuse. If we were to refuse, we would be refusing because we don't want to get embroiled in this so soon. But I think now is a good time to start weaving our intricate web a little bit here. So we're going to assist Father Leonard. He sounds like he knows what he's talking about here. And, you know, little old Father Leonard, I mean, would he be so deceitful as to be trying to twist things? Maybe. But we shall soon find out, I imagine. You see a kernel of truth in Father Leonard's words. If you grant people their opportunity to seek the pillar, or the peak of the pillar, on their own, they will be able to form a new church and find new faith in the twins. And this new faith will not be imposed upon them, but will come from their own hearts. You promise to show mercy to those who seek their own path to the elder and the younger. You promise to help the new faith grow stronger and find answers where the old faith could not. When it comes to electing a new patriarch, it must be done by the people and not the clergy, who are entrenched in antiquated, outdated tradition. Oh, jeez. Father Leonard smiles and offers you his hand. Thank you, brother. May the truth reveal itself to you. May it fill you. You look at him intently. After a long pause, you tell him that the truth is to follow the path of the twins with a pure purpose and an open heart. They need nothing more, and neither do you. A promise is made. Can't break our promises now. The call of the ancestors. Today is a big day for the Brante family. The day your family line started. The day when you remember all your ancestors. Tonight, everyone who bears the name Brante must descend into the family crypt to keep vigil by the tombs. This is the time to surrender yourself to your ancestors and hear their will. Really? Do we have to? The entire family prepares for the event in silence. Stephen has been choosing his apparel since morning, praying anxiously under his breath all the while. The heir has a special place in the family vigil. Even Mother is planning to go with you, though Father tries to talk her out of it. Lydia, I beg of you, stay home. You are far too weak for an all-night vigil in the crypt. Gloria, would you be so kind as to stay with your mother, since you cannot join us anyway? Gloria answers in a muffled voice. As you wish, Sir Robert. The late Sir Gregor would only be enraged to see Mother there. We all remember how their last encounter ended. Father nods curtly, avoiding Gloria's gaze. But at that moment your attention is drawn to a noise in the foyer. Nathan staggers through the door, stumbling over his own feet. He reeks of cheap wine and filth. I'm not, late, am I? Everyone gazes at him in consternation. Nathan almost falls into Mother's and Gloria's arms. Distressed, they fuss over him. Stephen eyes his youngest brother coldly. I expected nothing more of you, Nathan. Why even speak of duty to your family when you can't even manage to live by the commonest lot? Go lie down in the pantry and stay out of our sight. Father, Benedict, it's time. Let's go. Alongside Father and Stephen, you descend into the family crypt. You cannot help but remember paying your last respects to your grandfather 9 years ago. You light the lamps. Dim, eerie flames illuminate the shrine. In the middle of it stands a magnificent stone tomb containing the long-decayed remains of Gregor Brante. You take your places around the crypt and kneel. The all-night vigil has begun. At first, your ancestors remain silent. Each of you is left with their own thoughts. Then a low murmur passes around you. The shadows in the corners of the room deepen. The voices grow stronger. You know that the ancestors of Gregor Brante, long-forgotten commoners whom you never knew, are trying to talk to you. But now a memory of them has come to life in the darkness of the crypt. They are pleading for something, demanding it of you, calling out to you, screaming. Finally, you all hear that painfully familiar, deep, imperious voice echo from the far end of the chamber. It's been a long time since I've seen you all. I hope you bear good tidings. All this time I've been waiting for you to fulfill my mission. Remember, as long as I am in your blood, I will give you no peace. I did not have my family ennobled just to see our line cut short. Our blood tide must join the grand flow of the empire, and then each of my descendants will inherit nobility forever and ever. But I do not see any of you before my tomb. Where are you hiding? Where is the head of our family, the man who will speak to me? Where is the man who will heed my will? Father rises from his knees and makes his way toward Grandfather's stone tomb, the source of that booming voice. But Stephen suddenly pushes him out of the way. Father takes an indignant step forward, but Stephen firmly bars the way. Stop it, Stephen! You are my heir, but you are not the head of this family. Father, it is not you that Sir Gregor is addressing. Earning the nobility of the sword is my duty to him. He has long forsaken any hope of seeing you achieve it. You must understand that I am the one who will fulfill that duty. Stephen does not let him pass. Father breathes heavily in anger. You can all but feel the frantic beating of both their hearts resonating somewhere within you. Both your father and brother seem to have forgotten that you are here too. Even the restless voices of your ancestors have grown hushed, waiting for the outcome of this confrontation. Bye-bye, Stephen. Back off, pal. Okay, so I'm going to side with Father, which increases our unity, decreases my willpower, decreases my relations with Stephen, and increases it slightly with our Father. And I'm assuming... Oh, we would have gained diplomacy for this one. And gained willpower. Interesting. Anyway, screw Stephen. You block Stephen's way. Your ponderous voice fills the dark crypt. You demand that your brother step back. The head of your family is your father, Robert Brante, and so it will be as long as he lives. Could your brother have forgotten that it is part of the noble lot to acknowledge and honour seniority? Your father is the man who must hear and accept your ancestors' will. Stephen tries to maintain his composure, but even in the dark you can see his face twitch. Brother, you don't understand. I am not defying father's seniority, but I am the man who bears its duty to our grandfather. I cannot remain a mere witness while the future of our blood tide runs through his fingers. You resolutely push your brother to one side. Whether he wants to or not, he will give way to the head of the family. Father catches his breath and approaches grandfather's tomb. So it's you, Robert. Have you come to disappoint me yet again? Stephen is right. I have not put my hopes in you for quite some time. If anyone will lead the Brante family to glory, it will be my grandson. Stephen clenches his fist and whispers something to himself. I am doing my utmost, Father. We are closer to becoming nobles of the sword than ever before. The Overseer looks upon us with favour. Just a couple more years and your dream will come true. This must be your dream too, Robert, but you still cater to your foundlings, Lydia and Gloria, risking a permanent blemish upon the Brante name. My name! Dead though I may be, my will lives on. Heed it at last. Get rid of that trollop, Gloria, and devote yourself to your true family. Otherwise you will lead our family to shame and ruin. Father hesitates for a moment, and I'm going to just get me dinner. Okie dokie. No, Father. This is impossible. Even if I must defy your will, I am responsible for Gloria. My honour and my conscience will not allow me to do what you demand. You must accept this or keep on fighting me for all eternity. The voice of your deceased ancestor fades away. He seems to have left this realm, but then his voice suddenly booms from the other side of the crypt. Stephen! You are the heir of this family. Your duty by blood is to earn us a place in eternity. Do not take after your spineless father. Do what must be done. Cleanse our family of wickedness. Stephen is shivering. He replies in an unsteady voice. But Gloria, I can't... Stephen checks himself. I will do my duty to my family, Sir Gregor. Whatever the price, I will pay it. The crypt is completely silent once more. You are alone again. You see tears glistening on Stephen's face. Without uttering a word, he goes outside. Father clasps his arms firmly around you. You feel him let out a sigh of sorrow and relief. The vigil is over. Oh, it gained unity. Lost a bit of willpower. But all in all, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. The will and the law. Right, we'll do this little mini chapter, and then I'm going to have to eat my dinner, and then we'll resume. Dinner today is chicken in a kind of a Diane sauce. Is it a peppercorn sauce actually? Can taste brandy in it either which way. Brandy, cream, very rich, very delicious. The word of the Magran Inquisition has little space for dungeons in which to detain and question suspects. Just a handful of underground cells with tiny windows and heavy doors. You and Jean are standing in one of them, facing a man accused of heresy. 2 days of questioning have yielded nothing. This man was distributing books containing a distorted version of the teachings of Isatius. The teachings themselves were intact, but the books also included comments that openly criticised the foundations of the old faith. To set up a clandestine print shop for such blasphemous books, one needs powerful connections and money. This could be your chance to track down a heretical sect of considerable power. The man is on a rack. Rope is wrapped tightly around his wrists, turning them a deep shade of blue. Jean has treated the prisoner with patience and mercy. She has forbidden the use of torture in an effort to prove to the man that his silence is pointless. You hear footsteps coming down the stairs. Inquisitor Ulrich enters the room. He has refrained from interfering in your investigation for 2 days, but it seems his patience is at an end. You and Jean welcome your mentor. With a curt nod, he walks past you and examines the man upon the rack. Slowly, he shakes his head. I see you are in need of my aid and guidance. Remove him from the rack and put him in a chair. You humbly do as he says, while Ulrich takes great care in selecting the proper tool for what is to come. When the man is finally seated, the Inquisitor steps closer. Sharp steel flashes, and the severed tip of the man's pinky falls to the floor. The man lets loose a blood-curdling scream. Father Ulrich severs the finger down to the knuckle. Well, where is the print shop? The man shrieks and curses at him. Father Ulrich walks around the chair. The prisoner's eyes bulge in terror. The Inquisitor removes the man's ear with a precise cut. The prisoner howls in pain, shivering, convulsing. Blood streams down his neck, forming a dark brown stain on his plain shirt. Jean is stone-faced as she watches it happen. Ulrich is utterly dispassionate, every bit as calm and calculated as before. This manner of corporal punishment is an everyday occurrence for him. The Inquisitor continues the torture, repeating the same question over and over again in the same tranquil voice. The prisoner will not stop convulsing, but he says nothing. 10 finger joints now lie scattered around the floor of the room. Streams of blood trickle down the stone slabs. Ulrich reaches for a hammer. Oh my God! Finger bones are brittle. There is a crack, then a scream, then sobbing. The knees are next. The prisoner will not stop screaming. Between the howling and the tears, his lips are unsealed at last. He begs for you to stop. He will tell you everything. The print shop is in Sulmina, a small mining town in eastern Magra. The prisoner tells you exactly where it is hidden. Jean writes it down. Father Ulrich walks over to a wash basin. He pours some water on his blood-stained hands and carefully wipes them dry. He glares at you and Jean. Never pity a heretic. They deserve neither compassion nor your mercy. Sister Jean, finish him off. A lesser death is a fitting punishment for his crimes. Father Ulrich, forgive me for my impudence, but this man's fate must be determined by a tribunal. Sister, I have personally sentenced him to lesser death for his sins. The tribunal is a mere formality, a senseless waste of time, just like your attempts to convince him to speak. Forgive me, but I refuse. You and I belong to the same lot. You are not a noble. You cannot give me orders. You are far too arrogant for a girl barely out of the seminary. Father Ulrich's voice rings like hardened steel. Jean meets his gaze defiantly. The prisoner is sobbing quietly, still shackled to the chair. But supporting Jean, no question. You insist that the prisoner must face a tribunal. We lose willpower but gain valour and gain reputation with Jean, and that would give us +2 reputation with Father Ulrich. A reputation with Father Ulrich could actually be quite useful, I suppose. But no, we're not killing the man. After considering the quandary, you say that there is already a proper punishment for every wrongdoing. To carry out a sentence here and now would be murder, and such violence would be in defiance of your priestly lot. Father Ulrich stands erect. His gaze moves from Jean to you. Tell me, is your indecisiveness motivated by fear or pity? I advise you to consider which of these is more ruinous for an Inquisitor. Remember this. The rules and laws of the Order were all written by men. We, however, fight those who seek to undermine the very law of the gods. But have it your way. A tribunal will decide this man's fate. With that, Ulrich turns and leaves the dungeon. You summon the acolytes to take the prisoner back to his cell. When you are done, Jean looks at you with resolve. Younger is the law, the order, and the form. To serve the twins is to obey and protect the law. I'm glad to see you understand that. 2 days later, the prisoner is burned at the stake. Father Ulrich insisted that the heretic be sentenced to a true death. Jean attempted to appeal the sentence, but the Inquisition tribunal stood with Ulrich. You watch the execution take place in the yard of the Inquisition ward. The prisoner's howling under torture seems quiet compared to his screams of agony as he is consumed by the flames. You cannot look away from his burning body. His death comes slowly. Killing him yourself 2 days ago would have been a mercy. Oh dear. Okay, maybe so. Maybe so. But we follow the rules. 1140, 22 years young, and we've got ourselves a speech. Right, I'm going to eat my dinner. I'll be back with you in literally probably 10 minutes, no more than that, to eat this. So we'll be back just before the clock strikes 9 p.m, my time at least. So back with you soon. Just going to eat and then we'll continue on. Hopefully people will remain, with their fingers intact. That was quite graphic. Poor fella. And the more we see of this Ulrich fella, clearly the less we like of him. Alright. Pretty much bang on time. Dinner devoured. Time to proceed onwards in the year 1140, apparently. So we have a speech going on here. Egmont's speech. So just a few days into the year, Mayor Egmont, chairman of the Lesser Quorum and owner of several silver mines, made a speech that caused quite a stir in the province. Though a commoner, Egmont had the gall to demand that the Magran authorities both enforce and obey Imperial law. What's the use of the Imperial laws if they aren't enforced as they should be? Even today, any Anizot nobleman who gets up on the wrong side of the bed can draw his sword and run a commoner through with impunity. These gentlemen may be our rulers, but does that mean they can defy the Emperor's will? Sir Elborn has been appointed to enforce the rule of law in Magra. How come the prefect doesn't see this? We commoners aren't trying to seize the noble lot and take over the province, but the rule of tradition is a thing of the past. This is the age of justice. We may not all be equal in its eyes, but even the nobles and clergy must obey the law. The Magran aristocracy is furious with Egmont and he demands that he be silenced, but the rich industrialist has too much money and too many connections to be dealt with so easily. You hear more and more rumours about secret societies of commoners appearing in the city, plotting against noble rule. The gentry fears that Egmont and his peers might be behind this, but they have no proof, at least for now. Father Lennart, abbot of the Temple of the Silver Tree and leader of the New Believers, supports Egmont and has spoken publicly in his favour. The twins themselves entrusted the noble estate with the right to rule over the common folk, but rulers must also care for their subjects. The old faith is mistaken. No commoner should ever be forced to suffer. It is for this very reason that the Imperial law exists. It is there to ease the people's suffering. May those laws be duly enforced, and may they serve all the people of the Empire. Struggle for power increasing towards a reign of terror. Discontent, order is decreased, and the wealth of Magra decreasing too. Oh dear. The printed page. Battle lines are being drawn. Yeah, well, we're a little bit away from the rebellion stage, but we're getting there slowly but surely. Maybe we can ease it towards it a bit quicker. Give it a gentle prod. The first days of spring. It is early morning. The carriage bounces over a pothole on the road, jolting you awake. The village of Sulmina is already on the horizon. You are close now. Ah, Sulmina. You travel alone, escorted only by David Agoranim and his champions of faith. Father Ulrich was so intent on denying Jean the chance to investigate the print shop that he called for an Inquisition tribunal meeting for this very purpose. Your mentor thought you better prepared for the journey to Sulmina, and the other Inquisitors stood by him. Furious as she was, Jean had no choice but to accept the tribunal's decision. She saw you off before your departure, not one for affectionate farewells. She gave you a stern admonition instead. Remember, only the clergy may preach and interpret the words of Isatius. Such is our lot and the burden of the priestly estate. We are the ones who are educated and trained to guide laymen to the righteous path. A commoner or noble who expostulates on the twins is thus guilty of defying their lot and shall suffer at the foot of the shining pillar for all eternity. The books from this accursed print shop pose a grave danger to every member of the noble and common estates. I'm counting on you, Benedict. Make those apostates pay for what they've done. Little did Ulrich know that he clearly picked the wrong person for the job. It'd have been safer to pick Jean, I think. But anyway, the carriage shakes as it rolls down the bumpy Magran High Road. You pass the time before your arrival by flipping through the pages of the book that started this investigation. It is a paper-bound tome, and so unusually light. You look through the familiar lines, the teachings of Isatius. In this section, the prophet outlines his thoughts on understanding the lots. And so the twins did descend upon the land. Clad in flesh, they walked their path among the living, and brought their word. Blessed was the Archnean race to carry their rule throughout the land, transforming the land to suit their own design, for this design was pleasing to the twins. And so the twins did anoint the bloodline of Tempest to rule over a worldly kingdom. Such was their will and love and law. And so the blessed, the Archnean Empire came to be. And so the law of this land became intertwined with the law of the heavens. And thus spake the elder, he who lives a righteous life shall know eternal bliss upon the peak of the shining pillar. And thus spake the younger, he who defies the law in life shall find eternal torment at the foot of the shining pillar. What is a righteous life? The elder would not say. What is defying the law? The younger would not say. But there was no malice in this, nor was there any secret. The twins named the blessed Archnean Empire their worldly kingdom, and thus for all eternity the shape and form of the empire shall be pleasing to them, and the laws of the empire shall be the law as given to us by the twins. Thus do we all serve the empire, and thus do we fulfil their will. The nobleman serves with the sword and rules over other estates, for such is his noble lot. The commoner labours for the good of the empire. Your eyes shift to the notes appended to these lines. Their author is unknown. Prophet Isatius, being the first disciple of the elder, addressed the twins by their side. What is your will? He asked. How does one live a righteous life in keeping with your law? He was granted a revelation and given a reply. There can be no doubt that this is the truth, just as there can be no doubt in the doctrines that have guided the people of the blessed Archnean Empire to the peak for more than 1,000 years. But this answer was given to the prophet in a time when the world was unlike the world of the present. The Archnean Empire was surrounded by enemies on all sides, and many lesser races and civilizations lived among us. Powerful sorcerers fought to resist the will of the true gods, and priests of false gods were corrupting the people's souls with their profane rites. This was an age when the Archnean Empire had no nobles of the mantle, nor any nobles of the human race, nor did it have any commoners to toil and labour and be ruled over for the good of the empire. The empire has changed drastically since this time when Prophet Isatius was given his answer. The empire, its form and its laws have all changed. And so our path of service to the empire and the twins must change as well. We must cast away the old answers. We must forget Isatius and the lots. The carriage comes to a halt. It is time to put the book away. You have reached the village. The locals are ready for your arrival. There are no women or children outside, only men. They casually lean on pitchforks and scythes as though they just happen to have them on hand. The miners remain close to their pickaxes and sledgehammers. Oh dear. Preparing for war, are you? They eye you with suspicion, waiting for you to act. And so you speak to them loudly. There is a print shop in this village. Where is it? The villagers do not answer. They only clutch harder at their mattocks and staves. Some of them reach for rocks. The peasants surround you on all sides. The champions of faith in turn reach for their swords. Captain Agorinim is ready to give the order to attack at the slightest provocation. But then you spot a figure up on the hill. A man with a staff dressed in white. It's Father Leonard, abbot of the temple by the silver tree. He waves to you and walks down the hill. The crowd parts before him. Brothers and sisters, have no fear. I am sure our guests from the Order of the Inquisition have come here with no ill intent. Please, good Inquisitors, leave these people be. They were just trying to protect me. They don't realize that the twins' protection is the only shield I need. Come with me, my friends. I will show you what you seek. Big Len to the rescue. Big up Big Len. He guides you to a large house up on the hill. Inside are several printing presses. Young people dressed in white attending to them, printing new pages, sorting them and binding them into books. The print shop workers freeze in fear when they notice your black cassock and the silver seal on your side. Do you see this, dear brother? These are all books that teach the new faith. There is neither heresy nor apostasy here. This is education, and the Patriarch of Magra has approved it. Leonard produces a scroll and shows it to you. I, Cassius, Patriarch of Magra, hereby grant Father Leonard, Abbot of the Temple of the Silver Tree, permission to study and annotate the writings of the great prophet Asatius. For it is within that the lot of the priest to study the twins and interpret their will. Please, understand this, brother. It is true that any layman may seek guidance from a priest, but no priest can guide every decision a person makes, for we are all endowed with free will. If the people learn more about the twins, it will be much easier for them to follow their will on their own and chart their own path to the peak of the shining pillar. Enough of this heresy! Only priests have the right to interpret the faiths. So said Asatius. This is your priestly lot, your duty and your burden to bear. But you new believers now seek to compel laymen to shoulder this burden. They have been explicitly forbidden to bear it. You're just leading people straight to torment at the foot of the pillar, and you're saying this is how it's all supposed to be? Please, do not be so quick to blame me and our doctrine. What you have just said is also an interpretation of the lots, Captain, even though you claim it it is not your burden to bear. But I don't judge you at all. For anyone who seeks their love, it is only natural to seek an understanding of their law. The teachings of Fotis are not forbidden. The new faith is not a heresy, but a path to salvation. We will continue to preach our doctrine and look for other paths to the peak that have been rejected by the old faith. It saddens me to see that our teachings are still met with such fierce resistance from the clergy, even here in Magra, the birthplace of the new faith, even when the patriarchs of Archnia and Astinia have acknowledged the truth of the new faith and preach its doctrines themselves. Captain Agoronim's brow furrows. He looks at you. It is your lot to judge matters of the faith. You are the one who must decide, oh hellfire. We're doing this in front of the champions of whatever they're called. Champions of judgment, champions of justice. Captain David, who will no doubt report straight to Ulrich with our actions here. Oh, hellfire. In for a penny, in for a pound. We made a promise, after all, did we not, to Father Leonard? Leave the books alone. Oh, hellfire. There's a lot of repercussions here. So, destroying the print room decreases the province's power, increases the Inquisition's power, decreases tolerance of faith, increases reputation of the family, and decreases reputation with Father Leonard. We leave the books alone. The church increases. Inquisition power decreases. Tolerance of the faith increases. Father Leonard's relationship increases even further. Father Ulrich's relation decreases, as does Jean's. Oh dear. Well, a promise is a promise. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear. The look on Ulrich's face. After a moment of silence, you tell Captain Agorinim that Father Leonard is right. According to the priestly lot, any clergyman is free to offer interpretations of the sacred texts and provide guidance to his flock. This work is being sanctioned by Patriarch Cassius. The Inquisition will not stop these books from being printed and distributed. You think he's going to buy it? It's a slight loophole, you see. Slight loophole here. A loophole that allows the place to continue to publish these books. The more the commoners and nobles learn about the twins, the easier it will be for them to follow their path to the peak. Surely Father Ulrich can see this. Yeah, right. The captain frowns in displeasure, but accepts your judgment. With a smile, Father Leonard thanks you from the bottom of his heart. You have prevented bloodshed today. Upon your return, you tell Jean that the print shop belongs to Father Leonard. As a priest, it is his right and duty before men and the gods to interpret the sacred texts in the will of the twins. The print shop in Solmina will remain open. Jean raises her eyebrows, exasperated. Aiding heretics will only serve to guide you into heresy, Benedict. Don't you understand? These people are delusional, and they're spreading the delusion throughout the world. They are guiding their flock straight to the foot of the pillar. The sooner the new faith is seen as heresy, the sooner we can begin to fight them. And the more people we will set... Oh, God. Oh. Twins, forgive us. I thought you understood that. It's terrible. Terrible to imagine all these people doomed to torment at the foot of the pillar, and now their suffering is on your head as well. Inquisitor Ulrich greets you with a stone face when he learns of your decision. Those who show pity for heretics may one day become heretics themselves. You had best not show any indulgence to new believers in the future, Brother Benedict. Trust me, it won't end well. Oh dear. Loophole, Father Ulrich. Loophole. Okay. Did I say I was reading the printed books? No. Merely, we're not shutting the place down. That is all. Oh God, this is not good. This could get us killed. Church increasing the popularity of the new faith. Inquisition power decreasing, tolerance of faith increasing. This is what we want. So going according to plan here. I think we're playing a very cunning game. Or maybe we're not. Who knows? Okay, what's the plan for the week ahead? Let's have a breather for a second, shall we? Plan for the week ahead is very simple, really. It's going to be potentially a quiet week. It's the last week of the month, which usually means that things are on the wind down. It's also the end of the financial year. April starts a new financial year, which obviously being in my job is quite a significant time, because that's how we work our years too when it comes to performance and stuff. Well, outside of work, tomorrow will be CK2 stream. Tuesday will be a F1 manager stream, and then some recording sessions, and yeah, that's about it really. I've got nothing majorly planned, but I'm hoping to get quite a lot of videos up this week to make use of my extra time, not swanning around the land to various cities, which I have been doing for the past sort of 6 weeks or so, on and off. Manchester, Nottingham, Northampton, bloody hellfire. I'd be glad to stay in Leeds for a week. Right, so that's basically the plan for this week. I also need to get a video update up pretty soon, because it's the anniversary stream, you know, April sometime, 10th, 13th, 12th. I always get the date wrong. I always get the date wrong. But I'll get the correct date. So yeah, get a video update up or something too. So yeah, pretty quiet week on the whole in terms of work and stuff, but hopefully a busy week on the channel is what I'm hoping for here, because there's games that I want to start playing and I can't start them until I finish what I'm currently playing, so I need to make some good progress with these games. Okay. Brothers in misery. Your home has been much more peaceful for the last year. The fights between Stephen and Gloria are now not as fierce, but how long will this last? Your job takes up all your time. You see your parents and siblings less and less often. Sometimes you don't even know what they are doing while you deal with the constant stream of duties. This morning you head out on urgent business. You take one step out of the gate and run into a uniformed gendarme. Ah, Benedict Brante, your presence is requested at the prefecture dungeon. Taken aback, you ask what this is about. We have your brothers, Stephen and Nathan Brante, in a cell. They were arrested last night at the Steiner's Inn. They asked us to send for you. The hell? Nathan, we can imagine. Stephen? The hell's he done? The cells in the prefecture dungeon are cold and damp. The guards lead you to the bars, and behind them you see Nathan huddled in a corner. Your younger brother is unshaven, more dishevelled than usual, and reeking of wine and filth. Near the cell, you see Stephen grimly sitting in a chair. You guess that the gendarmes thought it best not to put him in the same cell as his low-born brother. Upon seeing you, Nathan lets out a whimper, and Stephen cracks a bitter smile. The sheath on your brother's belt is empty. There you are, at last, Benedict. Have a look at our younger brother. Yesterday he got drunk in the company of some dubious fellows. They are commoners, yet they dared to surrender to pleasure. They started a brawl, wrecked the inn, and harassed the waitresses. As soon as I heard, I rushed to save this drunkard from shame. Nathan cowers into the corner, horror-struck. I walked in and demanded that Nathan come with me, but his cronies wouldn't let him go. That's not true. You just grabbed me by the collar and dragged me after you. You nearly suffocated me. Shut your mouth, cur. So, brother, they seem to have some sort of sect. They all shouted defamations against the twin gods, and one of them grabbed me by the arm. I was forced to skewer this heretic with my sword. I hope a lesser death will teach him never to lay his filthy paws on a nobleman. It was just trying to talk to you, Stephen. Silence! Then the gendarmes barged in, and here we are. I have been accused of an unlawful murder. Apparently the new laws allow killing a commoner only if he attacks first or wields a weapon. They say that in the event of an insult, I am supposed to file a complaint with the prefecture. So now they're going to seize my sword for a whole year. What a shame. And it's all your fault, Nathan. Stephen gives the bars a furious kick. Nathan covers his face with his hands in despair. Benedict, brother, you are our only hope. Get me my sword back and get us out of here and fast. We have to bury this sordid affair as deep as we can before anyone finds out. Save our family from shame. Oh no! Okay. Aside from the fact that we can't do all the options that we might want to do, what would we have done if we had the choice? Use your authority. Potentially. Take them to the Inquisition? No. Blackmail the judge? No. Ask Father for help? Seems to be... I don't want to ask I'm a grown man now. I'm a priest. Why would I ask my father for help? Refuse to help? Teach them both a lesson? Definitely an option. Wouldn't bode well from for the family's reputation. But interesting. I'll use my authority. Oh, I would have needed to have been a nobleman to use my authority, which makes sense, I suppose. Take them to the Inquisition. Don't have enough Inquisition power for that. Wouldn't have done it anyway. Blackmail the judge. Don't have enough spy network, and I'm not lotless. So these are all based on your what's it called? Your lot, basically. So we wouldn't have done that one anyway. So quite happy that we can't access any of them then. So ask Father for help. No, right, refuse to help. So that gives a reputation hit of -2 to the family. Increases our willpower and decreases my brother's relation with us. Asking Father for help actually increases our manipulation. Decreases our reputation by only -1. And unity, but it increases my brother's relation, but decreases my father's. Oh, see this, when you look at this, you look at the way it affects the stats, this is a better option, but not the option I wanted to pick. So I'm not gonna bend and cave in to the fact that this looks better, because I actually gain personality from this, which is quite important. I'm going to refuse to help, because that was my gut instinct. So no. You both have done a bad turn. You both shall deal with the consequences. Okay? I just watched John Wick 4. Just watched John Wick 4 yesterday in the cinema, which was a fantastic experience because it was in View, and in View you can take your own food and drink in to the cinema. They've been doing that for quite a while now, and I get a discount because of where I work, so I got the tickets for $5, and we sat right at the back, right in the middle seats, with a view of the whole cinema, the screen, and they are recliners. All the chairs are reclining chairs now, so we reclined away, and every chair's got a little table where you can put your snacks and your drink. So I took my own popcorn for £1 from Lidl. Lovely sweet popcorn, and a Terry's chocolate orange, which I ate all to myself, and took in some rum and coke. So I got a litre bottle of water, tipped the water out, filled it with rum and coke, put that in my bag, and I had a nice little drink to watch my film with. And I got to admit, it was a 3-hour long film, and 3 hours never flew by so fast. The time just went like that. Really enjoyed it. But anyway, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because consequences is a big thing in the John Wick. Consequences. So you shall live with your consequences, Stephen Brante and Nathan Brante, and you shall learn from your mistakes. Yeah. So for a whole £5 and about £3 in snacks, so call it a tenner total. A whole cinema experience was fantastic. And you know, like some films, you get either people talking or you get people on the phone. You can see the screen shining, and you think to yourself, "Oh, I'm going to throttle you." Not a peep, not a single word for the whole 3 hours, and it was quite a full cinema. Not a single sound. A phone went off once, to be fair, but that was about it. But yeah, no phones, no issues, nobody talking. Everybody was engrossed in the film, and it was a fantastic experience. Really enjoyed yesterday, and then had a McDonald's afterwards for tea, and then went back for some more drinks in the evening, and got home at 12:30, having been out since about 2. Yeah, lovely day yesterday, lovely day. But anyway, we've left our brothers in misery. You icily tell Stephen that he will have to bear the consequences, you see, of his actions, as befits a nobleman. You will not interfere. I can just imagine his face as we're walking off, probably slightly smirking to ourselves. What did you think we were going to do? Bail you out? Don't be ridiculous. You're the nobleman, Stephen. Sort it yourself. Do you think I'm pleading for myself, Benedict? I can withstand any blow. That commoner's death wasn't my fault. All I'm concerned about is our family's reputation. But you don't seem to care about it at all, he says, as we're walking away. Nathan stares dully at the stones beneath his feet. You turn and leave. For the crime of killing a commoner, Stephen is publicly forbidden to carry a sword for a year. This is when father and the rest of the family finally became aware of the incident. After the verdict, Stephen spends his days secluded in his chambers. He does not travel or take part in social activities. Your elder brother cannot bear the shame of being seen without his sword. Nathan is sentenced to hard labour in order to pay for the damage done to the city and suffer in accordance with his lot. When he comes home at dusk after a day of arduous toil, your younger brother does not speak with any of you and locks himself in his room. Oh dear. Oh, my family is disgraced! Oh no, this can't be good. This cannot be good. This cannot be good. Jeez Louise. Our family is a disgrace. This event is a consequence of your previous actions. Lethal weapons, condition met. Tolerance of faiths, greater than 5. Ooh, we've got an extra thing. Anyway, what was I going to say? I was going to say something. And I've totally forgotten what I was going to say. Oh, sorry, yes, Mario. Yes, Chris, you mentioned you're going to see Super Mario Brothers. Yes, that was on the trailers. Super Mario was on the trailers. Also on the trailers, I won't watch it in the cinema, but I will watch it when it comes out. There's a Dungeons and Dragons film coming out on, I think it's the 31st of March, this coming Friday, I suppose. Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons film. It's worth a watch. Not in the cinema, I don't think, for me personally, but definitely worth Honor Among Thieves. That's the one, Honor Among Thieves. That's it, yep. So a couple of game-based films coming out. Okay, so what's this? Lethal Weapons. Not to be confused with the film. With each passing year, more and more priests and laymen are becoming adherents of the new faith. The sermons of Abbot Leonard and his supporters are resonating with people. The new believers proceed toward the peak of the pillar while defying the laws of Isatius. They are led only by the love of the twins. As Patriarch Cassius's flock becomes smaller in numbers, his sermons become progressively fiercer. Brothers and sisters, the false prophet Fotis is dead, and his heretical teachings live on and continue to poison our land. Every day, more and more of our friends, family members and neighbours fall under the spell of Abbot Leonard and those who have been deceived by his honeyed words. The Inquisition is supposed to be a shield for the true faith and a sword of retribution for the heretics and apostates, yet it remains idle. So we must rely on ourselves. Heed my call, brothers and sisters. Save your loved ones, save those who have lost their way and their true faith. Bring them back, whatever the cost. The leaves of the silver tree rustle soothingly. You try to breathe deeply and evenly, taking control of your emotions, but as soon as you open your eyes, your stomach turns. The temple of the silver tree reeks of death. Red blood flows over the white marble. In its hideous patterns, you recognize traces of bodies that have vanished after a lesser death. Every step produces a nauseating, squelching sound. Armed men barged into the temple during Father Leonard's midday sermon. Their faces were hidden, their clothes adorned with the symbol of the Church of the Twin Gods. They attacked the new believers, then took their own lives. Jean's voice echoes through the empty temple. I think we're done here, Brother Benedict. I have the full list of victims. They all suffered a lesser death. We'll question them thoroughly after they're reborn. The attackers yelled that they were willing to condemn themselves to eternal suffering just to purge this sacred place of heresy. They are commoners who dared to go against their lot in order to save people who have succumbed to the heresy of the new faith. Do you think Cassius is right? Is the Order to blame for what happened? You have no time to answer. A sharp voice calls out from the entrance to the temple. Oh, was it Ulrich? Sylvan Samoster. Maybe you should get out of your cell once in a while, missy. The old believers slaughter us like cattle in our own temple, but you're willing to acquit them and blame the Order for not taking charge of this bloody harvest? An unfamiliar, frail old man is standing by the entrance. Besides him stands Lennart, the abbot of the temple. Jean grows crimson with fury. How dare you say such things, old man? Am I wrong? Did your champions of faith come to our aid? No. You let the fanatics go ahead with their bloodbath. Calm down, Sylvan, I implore you. This is just your anger and bitterness talking. Sister Jean, pray forgive this man for his harsh words. He is full of sorrow and grief. It is understandable. Jean heads for the exit without saying a word. You are about to follow her, but Father Lennart stops you at the threshold. Inquisitor Benedict, may I ask you to stay for a moment? Jean leaves. The three of you are alone in the temple. You, Lennart, and the strange old man. Let me introduce my old friend, Sylvan Samoster. Sylvan, this is Inquisitor Benedict. Sylvan examines you with distinct distrust. His eyes rest on your Inquisitor's medallion. Why should we trust him, Lennart? He's a bloodthirsty fanatic like all the other Inquisitors. I don't think we should... Stop, Sylvan. Inquisitor Benedict is not our enemy. Can't you trust one person? He does not wish us ill. I can vouch for him. Oh, all right. The twins whisper in my ear that you may be right. You ask the abbot what it is he wanted to discuss with you. Instead of Lennart, the old man speaks to you. He points at the signs of the recent massacre. Have a good look around, Inquisitor. We're being killed in our own temple, but we can't defend ourselves. If something like this happened in a temple of the old faith, the city would be teeming with furious nobles, gendarmes, and legion soldiers. But now, everyone is silent, and the Patriarch keeps sicking his fanatics on us. The Patriarch? Does Samoster have any proof of his involvement in the attack? Is there any proof that he wasn't involved? The oaf is simply horrified by the prospect of Lennart becoming Patriarch. He feels threatened. He wants to intimidate us or destroy us. Lennart puts a comforting hand on the old man's shoulders. Sylvan shakes it off with irritation. Inquisitor Benedict, we must get the rights to protect our temples against such attacks. In truth, we cannot rely upon the champions of faith. The new faith does not limit people with lots. Those who are willing to take up arms in order to defend our temple have the right to do so. What if they find their path to the twins in this service, in defending their brothers in faith? If the prefect of the province allows the commoners of our parish to organise a militia, we'll be able to protect ourselves. This tragedy will not repeat itself. Elborn is a good man. He's willing to cooperate, but he says he needs the approval of either the Patriarch or the Inquisition. As you can imagine, we have no hope when it comes to Cassius, but if you, Benedict, speak on behalf of your order, the prefect will issue the decree. And we will fear these bloody massacres no more. You turn to the site of the recent battle. The scarlet blood has been scorched black by the heat. Ooh, fighting fire with fire? I don't know. That seems like a stretch too far to me. Ooh. I don't want to make my decision until I don't want to check the choices until I've made my decision. Okay, so it's... Oh. We're not going to outright refuse, so it's between supporting Leonard or dissuading. I think we should arm the dissidents. Holy hell. I mean, if we actively arm these people, that is a massive thing, right? And we're speaking on behalf of the Inquisition. Oh. Oh. Lethal weapons. It's kind of interesting. I'm not going to look at the comments for a second. I don't want to be persuaded by you now. It's kind of interesting because this is a thing that's cropped up because of the fact that we have a tolerance of the faith. So I kind of think that we should take advantage of it. In for a penny, in for a pound. Are we going to continue to, are we going to be do some, things in a half-arsed way, or do we? I'm closing my eyes so I can't see your comments. Or do we just pitch all in at this point? Why do things in half measures? You either go all in or you don't do it at all. But if we can dissuade him. Is that a bad thing? Because we're not saying we disagree with him, but I see dissuade like, yeah, well, you've got a point, but is arming yourself really the best option here? Is there not other ways for us to deal with this situation? Okay, let me see what you're saying. Oh, this is quite a big decision, I think. I'm gonna go. If in doubt, trust your gut, right? If in doubt, trust your gut. And my gut said, no weapons, no fighting, dissuade. Not refusing to help him, but I'm trying to make him see that this is not the best option. That's what I'm doing here. Now, if this turns out to be not what I anticipated it being, then we may have to change our mind. So this is where the protecting temples is a duty of the champions of faith. They will stand guard at the temple of the silver tree. Yeah. We can't take action into our own hands here. This might actually work against them. People see them arming themselves, and it kind of, gives people the impression, look at them, they're going to kill us all. Look at them, there's bloody heretics, they're bloody mad. Look, they're going to kill us, they've got weapons. Could work against them, you see. No, let's do things by the book here. The champions of the faith will stand guard at the temple of the silver tree. So this increases order. This actually increases tolerance of faiths. Decreases willpower. So let's see what supporting did. Supporting unlocks a destiny, right to defend the faith, increases power and increases the church, and the tolerance by +2, decreases Inquisition power. Father Ulrich hates us even more, as does Jean. Looking at that, I like that. All of that's a plus. All of that's pretty decent. But no. We'll go with this one. This was my gut. Going with the gut. No, alas. This measure will not stop the bloodshed. So you're refusing to help us? Well, that was to be expected. But that does not mean you do not want not to help. Lennart is mistaken in thinking that the new believers cannot rely on the aid of the champions of faith. You are all walking a path toward the twins. You are all children of the same church. The armed forces of the Inquisition will guard the temples to prevent further assaults. Don't listen to him, Lennart. We must defend ourselves. The champions of faith are merely the lapdogs of the Inquisition. They are just waiting for an excuse to dispose of us. You made a vow to help the new faith take root in Magra. Lennart must trust you. Sylvan tries to add something, but the abbot cuts him off with a gesture. If Inquisitor Benedict believes that this is the best way, we shall trust him, Sylvan. The old man sighs, disappointed. The twins whisper in my ear that you have chosen poorly. You've always lacked decisiveness, my friend, but I can see you have no intention of listening to me. I hope Lennart's trust in you is well placed, but if Cassius unleashes his fanatics on us again, this time we will not accept death humbly, like lambs to the slaughter. You nod in reply. The old man turns around and leaves, whispering to some unseen interlocutor. Back at the Inquisition ward, you call a general council of the Order to find a way to help the new believers. The new faith is a heresy. The Order will not defend them. You point out that the new faith has not been declared heretical. The new believers worship the twin gods, hence Ulrich and the other Inquisitors must protect them just as they protect those who follow the teachings of Isatius. An attack against the Temple of the Silver Tree is a sacrilege. The commoners who shed blood there trespassed against their lot, thus condemning themselves to eternal suffering. Jean speaks up from behind you. Benedict is right. Excuse me. We must stop this, not for the sake of the new believers, but for the sake of preserving order, protecting holy places against sacrilege, and above all, saving those who would risk their souls by resorting to crime. A lengthy debate ensues. By nightfall, you are drained, but you have managed to win over the majority of your brothers and sisters in faith. The champions of faith now guard all the temples in which the teachings of Fotis are preached. Old faith fanatics make a few more attempts to attack them, but bloodshed is averted. The cost may be high, but the new believers can now perform their services without fear of armed reprisals. Order increased. Tolerance of the faith increased. Willpower decreased. But I think that was not a bad outcome, to be fair. Indeed it was. The guns of Illyria. Magra has received alarming news from the neighbouring province of Illyria. The low-born convicts toiling in the Illyrian mines have revolted against their noble masters. For the first time in many long peaceful years, commoners have taken up arms. Worse yet, the insurgents had guns and gunpowder, and no one knows how they got them. Gunpowder weapons were banned throughout the Empire as soon as they were invented. The lords deemed firearms dishonourable and unfit for the nobles. Even Legion soldiers are forbidden from using them. But now gunshots were echoing through the mutinous Illyrian mines. The Imperial Legion was deployed to quell the riot. The legionnaires slaughtered the rebels without mercy, and the uprising choked to death on its own blood before it had even begun. The south of Illyria is now a forest of gallows. The convicts' corpses were left swaying in the wind as a warning to any commoner who might dare to take up arms. Although the rebellion quickly succumbed to the Imperial military's onslaught, many Legion soldiers and officers were slain by the insurgents' firearms. Their steel armour was no match for bullets. The rioters' weapons were destroyed in a public ceremony, but no one knows who built or smuggled them into the mines. All Imperial overseers soon issued public reminders in their provinces. The punishment for owning a gunpowder weapon is true death by execution. But the Empire is still restless, still anxious. Somehow guns found their way into commoners' hands, if only for a short time. Could gunpowder and lead one day endanger the old ways of the Empire? Authorities of Magra fear that unrest may soon spill over. Due to the double tax, peasant farms and industrial manufactories are facing harsh times. The province's wealth is steadily declining. But the discontent of the commoners is still held back by the eternal lot that demands they accept their suffering. Wealth decreased. Miracles and wonders. You have not had any serious cases since the investigations of Father Leonard's print shop and the Latari Society. Are you surprised? The only matter that currently warrants the Inquisition's presence in the province is the ongoing struggle between the old faith and the new. Did Abbot Leonard lie to you about Patriarch Cassius's heresy? There is a knock at the door. Father Ulrich has left the province for now, so all petitioners are coming to you. You set your thoughts aside and focus your gaze on the visitor. A middle-aged nobleman enters your office, his jacket decorated with large sewn-on beads. He states his name, Carl El Capo, and claims to have run afoul of magic. Sir El Capo owns a village by the name of Grossinia. The harvests there are abundant, and all plants and trees take root with amazing success. The villagers claim it is a blessing from the twins, but Sir El Capo thinks otherwise. The nobleman claims that Sister Aridella, the village priestess, is a witch. People have seen plants and trees blossom and bear fruit at her touch, here in barren Magra, with its lifeless soil. A pious man, Sir El Capo, does not want to shelter a witch who corrupts his property with her ungodly sorcery and feeds its cursed fruit to his men. You carefully write down the nobleman's every word, then leave for Grossinia at once, escorted by a squad of champions. Even from the high road, the village is striking. The trees, the grass, the flower beds. It is all green. Only nobles can afford such luxury in Anizot, and they import fertile soil for their gardens at great expense. You grew up among greenery, but your family garden had nothing this green and lush. You come to a halt next to a small, well-tended little house. A tall, slender young woman dressed in a black cassock comes out to greet you. This can only be Sister Ariadella. She looks at you, her eyes the brightest shade of emerald green. Greetings, Inquisitor. Please, come in. As unexpected as your visit must be, the young woman shows no fear whatsoever. You tell the champions of faith to remain outside for now. Ariadella takes you to the backyard of her home, a beautiful, verdant garden. So, Inquisitor Benedict, have you come to proclaim the miracle? What? What miracle? Ariadella smiles. She gestures to the flowers and trees growing all around. Just look. It's a miracle. A vast garden has appeared here, all thanks to our hard work and prayers to the twins. There's no garden like it anywhere else in Magra, except for those with imported soil. I've prayed for this ever since I was a little girl. It all started when I prayed for my mother's flowers not to die, and as soon as I touched the soil with a prayer on my lips, it became soft and the flowers grew strong. I've been doing it all my life. I just pray, touch the earth, and the soil lives again. This is why I became a priest. I wanted to use my gift from the twins for the good of the people. I went to Patriarch Cassius, and he guided me towards the priestly lot and sent me back home to Grossinia. And now our life here has become truly wondrous, thanks to the twins. I knew you'd come, I just knew it. Who else should proclaim this miracle from the twins, if not the Inquisition? Ariadella whispers a prayer to the heavens and touches a green stalk. It responds to her touch with a little bud. A moment later, a beautiful flower unfurls to greet you. The girl turns to you. There is a great expectation in her eyes and sparks of verdant green. You try your best to let her down gently. This wonder is different from the miracles worked by the twins. In fact, it is the opposite. The young woman's power comes from heretical magic, a distortion of the law of creation, an act abhorrent to the twins. The priestess's face expresses confusion, then terror. How can you say such a thing? My power comes from the twins. I know it. I serve them. I bring their blessing into this world. I was guided to the priestly lot by Patriarch Cassius himself. He couldn't have been mistaken. He'd never lie to me like that. You are not yet ready to say why the Patriarch would do this, but as for Ariadella herself, she must be collared and sent to the House of Humility, where all witches and mages of the Empire belong. There she will be stripped of her lot and her free will, to serve the Empire and its people as an instrument of the Church. The priestess is shocked. She cannot move. Tears begin to stream down her cheeks. No, please, you can't do this. How? No, nothing will grow in Grossinia without me. This village will die, and my entire garden along with it. The young woman falls to her knees, weeping. She folds her arms across her chest and begins to mutter. You can barely distinguish her words between her sobs and tears, but eventually you realise that she is praying. Although she believed herself to be a holy woman, Ariadella was in fact transgressing against the divine law. She must be punished, so saith the younger. And yet she has devoted her powers to a good cause, utterly unaware that what she was doing was wrong. However, there is another question. Why would Cassius allow her to use magic in the name of the twins? It could not have been a mistake. The Patriarch intentionally set her on this heretical path. But why would he commit such sacrilege? To what end? Perhaps Father Leonard's report was not unfounded after all. It is time for the pondering to end. You must act. Ariadella's fate is in your hands. I would have liked to have proclaimed a miracle, but I have a sneaking suspicion it's because our theology is not high enough. So that's a bummer. I would have liked to have done that. Bugger. So it's a 50-50 then between having her executed or saving her. So proclaiming it a miracle is one thing, because that's not like us personally saving a magic user, which is really bad. Openly saving her is which is bad. I don't want to have it executed. Oh, that seems so harsh. Every time we've given in to this kind of, this kind of softer side, oh, we can't do that. Look what happened. It got us killed once. Oh, dear. Now, clearly we would, it's magic and whatever. That's not the issue. We would happily save her. The issue is consequences. What is the consequences of us actually openly saving her? Are we going to be able to spin it? Talk our way out of it? We spared a publishing press of books, How many more things do we need to do before Ulrich becomes... before he chops our fingers off? Right, okay. We have to do certain things just to keep up appearances a little bit. I can't kill her. I can't do it. Okay, we got to be realistic here. There's a poor woman's life in our hands. How could we sleep at night if we have her executed? How could we sleep? Okay, we're going to save her. I've made a decision. So having her executed would increase our family's reputation, increase our diplomacy, and decrease the tolerance of the faiths. Saving her decreases Inquisitor's power, increases our family's wealth by another 2, and increases our scheming. Ooh. Okay. All right. Cool. We'll save her. You lean closer to Ariadella and say that you want to help. She will have to leave her garden, her village, and the life she knows, but she will survive. If she doesn't flee now, the House of Humility or the Inquisition's pyre await for her. The young woman looks at you with her tearful eyes of emerald green. She nods anxiously. You whisper instructions in her ear. She will have to reach Anizot on her own. She should wait for you at the temple by the silver tree tomorrow morning. She has to trust you. Oh, we're actually helping her big style here. Talk about incriminating yourself. But I think one of the precursors of having this option was the fact that we'd allowed some people to go before that troop thing. We let that troop thing go on, so I assume she's kind of joining the troop, or we're going to give her instructions on how to find them or whatever. Very well, I will be there. Later that evening, you return to Anizot and release the Champions of Faith. If you know Sister Jean, she will still be at the Inquisition ward. Your assumption is correct. She's still at work poring over some ancient scrolls. Her tired eyes look at you with surprise. Benedict, shouldn't you be in Grossinia? You tell Jean everything. There is no need to lie to her about Ariadella. The young priestess is a witch, a magic user, but she does not deserve the collar. Just like Alice, Jean's old friend. Of course! Aha, this was it. Yes. So perhaps Jean could get in touch with Alice and rescue Ariadella from her plight. Jean falls silent. You can see the inner turmoil written on her face. Finally, she lets out a sigh. Alice and her troop should have reached Kupfer by now. That's a town in Illyria. Tell this priestess of yours to go there. I'll write her a note. After all, Alice owes us a debt. Early the next morning, you both take a carriage to the temple to meet Ariadella. The young woman is already there, dressed as a humble peasant girl with a small bindle over her shoulder. Bindle? She's staring in amazement at the silver tree. Judging by her expression, she is struggling with the desire to embrace it. You tell her how to find Alice and put her in a carriage headed for Kupfer. Thank you both. May the twins guard you always. I'll never forget you. Jean watches the carriage until it disappears from view. She's a wonderful girl, but I'm still not sure we did the right thing, Benedict. With that, you return to your daily routine. Sir El Capo is outraged by the priestess's sudden escape. For a while, he pesters you with demands to pursue her. After several weeks, he finally gives up, promising to let the city know that the Inquisition is neglecting its duty. Weeks later, Jean meets you at the Inquisition ward. She looks happy. She's carrying a rolled-up paper note and a hefty jewellery box. So this is where the family's wealth comes into effect. We got a letter! Hurry up and read it. We better burn it before anyone else sees it. The jewellery box is full of money. It's for both of us. What am I supposed to do with it? Jean, Benedict, your friend is fitting right in. Life on the road is new to her, but I'll help her get used to it. I managed to earn a small fortune travelling the Empire all these years, but I have no need of it. I'm sure you'll put it to good use and use it to save even more souls. My life has not been an easy one, but it's still an invaluable gift, and I have you to thank for it. I will never, ever forget what you have done for me. May good fortune be with you always, no matter where you go. P.S. Jean, is Benedict the seminary student you told me about back in Eterna? Oh, is that right, Jeanie? Are you talking about me, have you? Jean snatches a note from your hands as you read the final line aloud. She leaves your cell, her cheeks burning. Okay, Inquisition power, non-existent, just how we like it. I think we're doing a cracking job here. Commentator's curse, we end up dead. Okay, so this is family wealth, right? Yeah, family wealth, affluent. We're rich, but disgraced. We can buy our way out of disgrace, surely. Don't worry, we're slowly brainwashing Jean as we go along. We'll have her on our side before she knows it. We'll have her eating out the palm of our hands. Okay, extra scheming is good. We like scheming. Not good for our job, but it's good for For schemes, clearly. Because we're scheming as part of our job, unbeknownst to a lot of people. Or maybe not unbeknownst at this point. The procession to the tree. A holy day is coming. A day when the entire empire, thanks to the twins for the silver tree, the sign they left behind as a reminder of their eternal presence in this world. This momentous occasion is especially important for Anisot, but the clergy cannot agree on how best to celebrate it. Father Leonard has called for all worshippers of the twins to approach the temple of the silver tree and kneel before the sacred relic. But the old clergy balks at the idea of Leonard and the new believers leading the ritual. The day has come. An immense crowd is moving in a procession toward the temple near the silver tree, where Father Leonard awaits. But an Inquisitor by the name of Jean stands in their way. She strikes a defiant pose. Confronted by a member of the Holy Order of the Inquisition, the procession reluctantly stops. People, turn back! Those who attend Leonard's rite will succumb to the new faith. Those who reject the lots will defy their divine design. You're about to bring the wrath of the gods down upon us all. Open your eyes, go back to your homes, and pray to the twins. The procession wants to move, but the people are confused, until Father Leonard himself walks out of the temple to meet Jean face to face. People of Anisot, no one has the right to deny you the sacred ritual of worshipping at the tree, not even the Inquisition. Is such a denial not more likely to provoke the wrath of the twins? The Inquisition must know that the new faith does not seek to challenge or defy the twins. We are merely trying to correct the mistakes of those who came before us. We do not anger the twins. We merely vex those who refuse to accept the dawn of a new age. Jean finds herself between a rock and a hard place. Seeing that she has no other choice, she lets the procession pass. The new faith numbers have swelled of late. It cannot be stopped now. We are at the midpoint of the schism portion here. Time to cook some spaghetti. Nice. Okay, so here we go. This is the Festival of the Silver Tree. What is the worst that could possibly happen at a festival? Well, we're going to go until 10:30. If this is anything like last week's 10:30, when I couldn't put the book down, essentially speaking, technically speaking, the e-book that I'm reading. But yeah, 10:30. So we'll do a couple more chapters here. Or sub-chapters, if you will. But anyway, the Festival of the Silver Tree. Today is an important holiday. The entire empire is celebrating the Festival of the Silver Tree, which commemorates the parting gift of the twin gods, the divine sapling they planted in our mortal world in the middle of Anisot. The families of the city spend the day in peace and quiet, contemplating the divine roots that join together all people, their bloodlines, and the entire empire. Mother always oversees this holiday. The day before the festival, she seemed to have shaken off her usual apathy and engaged in the preparations with excitement. It was as though her illness has loosened its grip. Mother gathers the entire family for the holiday meal. Father is in high spirits today, sharing jokes with you and Nathan. Stephen is trying to suppress an atypical agitation. Gloria is the last to join you at the table. She is wearing new breeches with high stockings and a yellow vest. Gloria, you're wearing men's clothes again. No, Mother, I'm wearing clothes women are forbidden to wear. Father gives Gloria a stern look. Stephen rolls his eyes but says nothing. Suddenly, Nathan speaks up. A few days ago in the market, I saw a grocer dressed as Overseer Gaius Tempest. He had a huge carrot for a sceptre. He got a sound drubbing, of course, but until then, it was quite a hoot. Everybody laughs at the ridiculous story, relieved. Even Gloria has a smile on her face when she sits down. The feast commences. Your home finally feels warm for a moment. Oh, everybody eating and laughing. For now. It wasn't so long ago the four of you couldn't even reach up to this table. The first word you said, Gloria, was gimme. Nathan used to cling to my skirt all the time, almost tearing it, and you, Benedict, you couldn't talk at all yet, but your piercing stare was so expressive. It felt as if you were talking to me. Mother looks at Stephen and suddenly grows quiet. When I met Stephen, he was already 3 years old. He was so serious and a smooth talker to boot. I remember that he had a music teacher, but he was too shy to play in front of me, so I used to listen from the next room. Stephen's face twitches. Your elder brother rises and moves to the old harpsichord. His fingers fly gracefully over the keys. A melody fills the house, melancholy and sweet. The last note lingers in the air. Then silence falls. The family's awestruck. Words fail you all. Who wrote that? A nobleman from the capital between drinking a glass of wine and beating a servant? Your sister's cutting remark puts an end to the warm, cosy atmosphere. Stephen calmly turns to face her. No, it was I who composed this piece of music. It is called Mother. Mother rises to her feet. She would have needed help to do this just recently, but now she treads unassisted towards Stephen and draws him close. What? Stephen puts his arms around his stepmother's waist and then detaches himself awkwardly. May the twin gods bless you, Lydia. Gloria considers this scene with thinly veiled fury in her eyes. Of course, high-born nobles like Stephen are made for the arts. They're the ones who are lucky enough to have a soul and experience inspiration. Unlike us, the low-born, we aren't supposed to feel anything but suffering, let alone express it in poetry. Everyone notices that Gloria is clutching pages filled with writing, her poems. Your sister casts a mournful glance at the family, and her eyes rest on you. Yes, Gloria, read your poems. Why not? Okay, so we're going to let her read her poems. Appeal to Mother. Extra unity, extra manipulation, and Gloria's relation decreases. Interrupting Gloria is basically all negative. So letting Gloria read her poems then. Less unity. That increases unity. Less unity, more relations with Gloria, less relations with Stephen. Appeal to Mother. Or let Mother calm Gloria down. No, we'll let Gloria read the poems. You rise from your seat and speak. In your speech, you wholeheartedly support your sister. Gloria had the misfortune to be born a commoner, but she is still entitled to express her feeling. Why is Stephen the only one who has the right to delight Mother with his creations? Every member of our family should be equal. You know, new faith and all that. But what about her lot, son? Gloria is permitting herself to practice a noble activity, thus breaching the divine order. You softly explain to Mother that times have changed. Nowadays, art isn't just a pleasure for the nobles, it is also a trade plied by many commoners. More and more low-born tradespeople are taking up the pen and ink rather than the hammer. This is now their labour and their suffering. So saith Father Brante. Mother lets out a heavy sigh, but yields to the onslaught of your inspired speech. Emboldened by your support, Gloria steps into the centre of the room. Her eyes are fixed on Father. A stranger and a bastard I am called. I am, but still I long for you to say that I am yours and melt the icy cold that burns within my heart both night and day. My mother and my brothers are all near, but I feel cold as though we are apart. Ashamed, yet still compelled to make you hear. I long to hold you closely to my heart. I am a stranger, 'tis my only crime. Forgive me, oh, but mercy is forbidden. I hope you'll see, if not forgive in time, my bitter love, both joyous and well hidden. Father stares at her in bewilderment. Gloria, Stephen springs to his feet and leaves for his chambers, slamming the door behind him. I don't feel so well. Nathan, son, please help me to my room. Mother leaves the room leaning on Nathan's arm. The celebration is cut short. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay. Look, I'm happy with my decision. Sing, recite your poetry. Okay, so about halfway through peacetime. We're now 24 years young. The Emperor's heir's in danger. News from the capital quickly reaches every corner of the Empire. Gerion and Flavius, the heirs to the throne, have left the Emperor's palace for the province of Monia, which is ruled by Great Chancellor Egerius Monrogue. The Great Chancellor has accused the Emperor's court of harbouring malefactors conspiring against the Imperial heirs. This is why he has offered them shelter and safety in his own impregnable citadel. The common people are particularly worried by this news. They take it as a sign that the Chancellor is seeking to solidify his power by holding the heirs hostage. If this continues, Monrogue could coerce the Emperor into revoking the Imperial law, thus depriving the common estate of any and all rights. All hope for reform in the Empire has vanished. From farmer to rich industrialist, the commoners are growing desperate. In your province, the authorities are trying their best to put the people at ease. The magistrate of Anizot makes a speech from his balcony to the excited crowd below. Trust in your Emperor, good people. The Imperial heirs are the future of the Great Tempest dynasty. The Emperor has made the wise decision to send them far away from the scheming court. Great Chancellor Monrogue will take good care of them and keep them safe. All glory to the Empire, all glory to the Tempests. That's not good. Strengthening of the old nobility there. Wealth of Magra continuing to slide into the realms of bankruptcy. Oh. Okay. Chapter peacetime ends soon. Examine possible chapter endings to check which way you are headed. To achieve the goal that you've chosen, you'll have to meet all of its conditions at the end of the chapter. I don't want to. I don't want to be shoehorned or led. I want things to happen naturally. As much as it's probably going not to end well, we are going to continue with our stance on this. We know what our end goal is, right? It is to promote the new faith in a subtle way. That's not so subtle. True death was an option, I seem to recall there. So we've got to be very careful. Could you imagine after all of this reading, we don't even get to the last chapter because we die at the end of this one? Oh my God. I'd be horrified. But we'd have to live with it. We live with our decisions, folks. You know me. Benedict Brante never made it to the end. Which is kind of bizarre because he was writing his memoirs at the start of the game, right? Anyway, the Trail of Sorcery. Since the incident with the priestess Ariadella, Patriarch Cassius has mostly retreated from the public eye and stopped preaching. A coincidence? No one can say for sure. Not all witches and mages resemble the pious Ariadella. You still remember Brian, the young boy who went to your school. If you and Thomas had not stopped him, he would have burned that school to the ground. You cannot help but think the Patriarch may be aiding mages and offering them shelter. The very thought makes you uneasy. You share your concerns with Jean and Father Ulrich, still trying to feed them a little tidbit of a thing or two to make it sound like we're kind of doing our job. Oh, they're bloody mages. Your mentor nods in support. See you later, Cham. I have seen this before. Junius Diamant, the Patriarch of Astinia, attempted to protect a couple of sinners once. There was a priest who was rutting with a witch, and Junius tried to protect them. So perhaps you're right, Benedict. Perhaps our Cassius has a soft spot for those abhorrent degenerates as well. I say we should investigate. You exchange glances with Jean. Both of you still recall that tribunal in a turn of 5 years ago. It's a shame the Order has no way to secretly gather information about the parishes that support the Patriarch. Everyone in those parishes knows each and every Inquisitor by sight. I intend to ask the secret chancellery for aid. This should be a simple matter for them. Undercover outlaws who challenge and undermine the Emperor's sacred rule, rebels who pose a threat to the twins' blessed order of the present, the secret chancellery wages war on all these foes. You know very little about their other activities. The Order and the secret chancellery decide to work together. For the long year that follows, they painstakingly search for clues and investigate rumours. You examine each and every parish in Magra, trying in vain to find other mages sheltered by the Patriarch, if such mages even exist. You lose nearly all hope of success. But then, one winter night, your efforts are finally rewarded. The sunset outside the window has turned to dusk, but Jean still has not returned to the ward. Normally she would tell you if she were doing something after hours. You grow worried. Seeking reassurance, you approach the champions of faith who have stood guard for the day and ask them when they last saw Sister Jean. Why, Sister Jean left early this morning to help the secret chancellery. The agent ran up to her at the doorstep. He gave her a sealed note and they drove away together. He said it was important. They say they found the trail of a runaway mage somewhere on the western edge of the city. In the warehouses, in the old city walls. I say you shouldn't worry. We check a dozen such rumours from their agents every month, but we never find a thing. Despite the captain's assurances, you remain apprehensive. You tell Agoronim to gather the champions and check on her. You go to the western edge of Anizot. There are almost no residential buildings there, just ruins and workhouses. In fact, it can be quite hard to tell one from the other. As the half-crumbled wall on the edge of the city draws near, you feel your heart beat with greater urgency. Your apprehension grows. You come to the warehouse. The door is smashed in, ripped off the hinges. The inside is splattered with blood. You see wrecked furniture and soot. An intense battle was fought here. By the basement stairs you find a small pile of scorched clothes, the last remnants of someone's lesser death. It looks like Jean's cassock. Oh, it looks nothing like Jean's cassock, thank the twins. There is something on the lapel of the charred jacket, a brooch in the shape of a wheel. This belonged to an agent of the secret chancellery. One floor below you, you hear a blow followed by a woman's muffled moan. Jean could be down there. Captain Agoronim nods. Like a prayer, he whispers the usual words. Inquisitor Benedict, you are a weapon I now must wield. Strike my enemies down until I tell you otherwise. At his order, the champions of the faith move out. Their heavy boots thunder down the stairs to the basement. You run down behind them. A tunnel low and dark. Jean is there, surrounded by half a dozen figures. Her face is bruised, her lips cracked, her eyes barely open. Her cassock shows several knife cuts soaked with blood. The unknown thugs turn to face you. They have gunpowder weapons. Shots explode in the dark. Swords flash like bolts of lightning. Screams. One of them summons magical fire in his hands. You clutch hard at a thin silver slab with a prayer to the younger, and the magical flames are doused as the silver melts in your hand. You continue the whispered prayer, staring straight into the mage's eyes. At this moment, in this place, it feels easier than ever to invoke the younger's ruthless law. The mage glances around as the champions of faith push the outlaws back despite the flurry of explosive shots. The rebels' weapons are too slow to reload, and in close combat they are clearly weaker. The mage turns tail and runs away down a long dark tunnel. You glance back at Jean. Blood still oozes from her wounds, but more slowly now. Her head has fallen on her chest. Her eyes are closed. Oh! I don't want to chase the mage. No. We can't chase the mage. He might kill us. Capture the mage sounds more definitive. That sounds like, yeah, we definitely capture him. This sounds like he's going to flipping kill us. We're going to confront him. We could just help Jean and let the mage get away. Ooh. No, we're going to help Jean. Helping Jean is a safer option. I don't want to die. Right, we're going to help Jean. So chasing the mage would increase Inquisition power and increase Jean's relationship. Helping Jean is probably going to decrease her relationship. Oh no, that helps. Okay, that gives us willpower and helps with Jean's relationship. That's fine. And we don't want to increase the Inquisition power anyway, so this was the best option, I think. Capturing the mage. We needed Jean to be wavering there. Inquisition power and willpower. And healing Jean will be Inquisition power and willpower, so that's fine. Okay. You rush to Jean's side, dodging the slashing swords and swinging wooden clubs. A bullet hits the wall next to you, throwing a cloud of stone dust in your face. You take the silver encircled cross from your neck and touch it to her wounds. May the Elder grant you the power to heal them. The wounds flare with a blinding white light. The bleeding stops. The bruises and cuts on her face fade away. The blessed silver in your hands was the price of faith's sacrifice. A moment later, the holy symbol melts into a white glow. You untie Jean from the chair to which she was bound. She opens her eyes, nods to you, and faints. The fight is over. The champions of faith are victorious. You take a few moments to fashion crude stretchers out of nearby wooden planks and rags, and then leave the bloodied warehouse carrying out your wounded. Then one by one, you drag the cutthroats out of the basement. The secret chancellery men finally arrive, too late for the fight, and stuff the thugs into inconspicuous, windowless wagons. Is Patriarch Cassius involved in this? You can only hope he will learn the answer soon enough. Jean regains her senses as you leave the western outskirts of Anizot and enter the temple district. Benedict? Did we catch the mage? You shake your head. Jean closes her eyes and remains silent for the rest of the trip. Many champions from your squad are wounded. They take them to the nearest temple for healing. Jean is utterly exhausted. She too needs help at the temple. She catches the arm of your cassock from out of the stretcher. Please, stay with me a moment. You accompany Jean to the infirmary by the temple. You healed her wounds, so it should not take much to get her back on her feet very soon. Good food and proper rest is all she requires. Benedict, what do you think? Is Cassius behind this? And if he is, what made him commit such a crime? When the infirmary nurses stop fussing around her, you take a stool and sit next to Jean's bed. With some difficulty, Jean pulls her arm out from under the bed sheets. Will you pray with me? You put your hand on hers. It feels warm, hard and rough. Her fingers squeeze your hand gingerly. You begin the first words of the prayer of gratitude, and Jean repeats after you. As you reach the middle of the prayer, you notice that you can no longer hear her voice. She is asleep. You spend a moment sitting by Jean's bed listening to her breathing. Then you carefully take your hand out of hers and leave the infirmary. Indeed we do. Well, we're still alive. That's the main thing. Let the mages go, it's fine. Well, we can get them another day. Or somebody else can get them. I don't want to be set on fire. Okay, Revelation. This will be the final subchapter of the day. It has been several months since Jean was rescued from the insurgents. You learn that the mage hunted by the secret chancellery was a rebel, a member of a clandestine society who took refuge in a local parish. Father Ulrich took it upon himself to personally interrogate the abbot of the parish. Oh dear. The priest confessed to the crime. He even confirmed that Patriarch Cassius was involved. According to the abbot, he accepted the mage as an acolyte at the parish after the patriarch vouched for him personally. However, you are aware of the methods Father Ulrich employs to extract his confessions. The abbot's words may be far from the truth. You cannot help but suspect that Ulrich made the abbot lay all the blame on Cassius for his own mysterious reasons. Jean, on the other hand, is more eager than ever to believe that the Patriarch is guilty. We must put Cassius on trial before the new sacred conclave. The Patriarch stands before the twins, and they will judge our entire flock based on him. If the newly chosen Patriarch is a heretic, who knows what blasphemous obscenities he will utter in their presence. The evidence you have is not enough to bring the Patriarch to trial. However, Ulrich intends to use your information to destroy Cassius's public image and his support among the clergy. Your sacred mission is looking more and more like a dirty political game, and you find this sickening. Desperate for a change of scenery, you seek solace in a walk through the familiar alleyways of Anisot. You notice something different. An unusual number of the people on the streets of Anisot are armed. Not just the nobles, even commoners have defied their lot by carrying small hatchets and clubs tucked in their belts. Father spoke of this at the dinner table last night. The city gendarmes are unable to maintain order on the streets. The commoner members of the lesser quorum are calling for the common folk to fight for their rights, while the nobles are mired in the ongoing struggle between Archduke Tarquinius Milanidas and Imperial Overseer Gaius Tempest. You feel uneasy. People are beginning to challenge Isatius' vision of the lots. Too many now reject the divine law that brought order to the Empire by shackling its subjects' destinies to the lots. The Empire is changing, and you cannot help but feel a sense of foreboding, as though some dreadful, world-shaking event is about to take place. You do not remember how your legs guided you to the silver tree. As always, a profound sense of tranquility descends upon you. You close your eyes and whisper words of gratitude. As you pray, you hear a loud voice in the distance. A monk you have never met is preaching. The most sorrowful thing that happened when the twins descended to our world was their deaths on opposite shores of the river Eterna. The elder was torn apart by the mob, whether from love, madness, or some other purpose we do not know. At that very moment, the younger disappeared as well, gone in a flash of light. And so a brief but terrible time of troubles began. The people were lost, unsure of what to do. The twins had told them of the peak and the foot of the shining pillar, but before they could tell the people how to reach the peak and meet them in the hereafter, they were gone. 12 years passed between the day the twins died and the day Isatius, beloved disciple of the elder, described the twins as will, love, and law in his first book. And then, 2 years later, Isatius received his second revelation, and thus the second book was written. And in this book, the prophet taught us how to live a righteous life and earn a place at the peak of the shining pillar in the hereafter, and all the faithful found peace at last. With this understanding, the three lots came to be. You linger for a moment to listen to the sermon before moving on. You see few armed men in the slums, and almost no gendarmes. Anisot still seems so peaceful here, just like in the days of your youth. Men and women pass by on the narrow streets, busy with their lives. You hear children's voices in the yards. 2 boys are pushing at each other by a fence. They are almost the same height, and both are thin, with light brown hair. One of them shouts at the other, "Don't do that! Mama's going to punish us. She told us to stop." His voice echoes in your head. The world around you ripples and quivers. The colours grow more vivid for a moment, then instantly turn pale. Everything is getting brighter and brighter. There is light coming from the silver tree. It fills the slums. It hurts to look at it. A brilliant flash blinds you. The light drowns out everything. You see a crowd of people. Their faces are blurred and inscrutable, like faded old paintings. They are listening to a man's silhouette standing before them. You cannot hear his words, but you can feel the love emanating from him. It washes over everyone like a wave of warmth. He is a wise teacher offering guidance to his disciples. A peasant crawls up to the teacher on his hands and knees. He is harnessed to a plough. He reaches out in a desperate plea, and the teacher removes the peasant's harness. He helps him to his feet and hands him a sword. And in this act, there is love. You have felt this sensation only once before. You cannot remember when. It is unquestionable, endless, absolute. The softest touch like a hand wiping the tears from a child's face. The next moment another silhouette appears beside the first. Your heart skips a beat. Crime is always followed by punishment. Inevitable, merciless, retribution, the judge's sentence. This is right. This is how it must be. The judge is here and he craves justice. The law is one, the same for all. The teacher is alone. His audience disappears, dissolving like shadows. The judge approaches and the teacher steps toward him, his arms open in an embrace. The judge's sword suddenly rises to meet him. The image freezes before you. Both silhouettes disappear in the light of the silver tree. The sentence has been rendered, the lot fulfilled. And then you are surrounded by the slums of Anisot once again. The encircled cross of the twins feels hot against your chest, burning your skin even through your cassock. Your breath is ragged, the blood pounding in your temples. You have just experienced an inexplicable revelation, a vision given to those seeking answers, those such as Prophet Isatius. And this revelation is bursting out of you. It must be oh no! I want to go to Father Leonard. Oh, he liked the eloquence. Sheesh. It's not a tough choice. We don't have a choice. That's the issue. We need eloquence to... Oh, no. Okay. We shall have to quietly ponder that vision and tell nobody about it. I would have liked to have gone to Father Leonard to share the revelation with him, to see what he made of it. Never mind. Okay, we're going to have to go home. We haven't got a choice. You go to your family. They are more dear to you than anyone else in the world, and you want to share this revelation with them. We lose family reputation. We lose unity. Oh, but we gain eloquence. Okay. We need lots more eloquence. We can't talk. It takes you more than an hour to reach your home. In Anisot, the sun lingers for a long time in the heavens, but when the sky grows dark, dusk falls suddenly. You reach the doorstep of your family home. Light shines from the windows. Augustine L. Bourne, Stephen's uncle and the prefect of Magra, was supposed to visit your family today. The house is full of guests, many of them nobles. They are all Stephen's friends, eager to make the acquaintance of one of the movers and shakers of Magra. Your vision struggles with you, within you, demanding to be told. You tremble feverishly. You hurry to the centre of the room and raise a hand. No, Benedict, no! You can't speak, you ineloquent fool. What are you doing? You hurry to the centre of the room and raise a hand, calling for the guests' attention. Everyone turns to you, curious. Oh, what are you doing? As you relay your vision to them, and you relay your vision to them, everything goes wrong from the very beginning. Oh, no! Your description is too long, too convoluted. The image felt so vivid in your mind, but it fades and blurs. It loses its meaning as you try to put it into words. He's fumbling over his own mouth and tongue. You try to recover by quoting the sacred scriptures, a classical rhetoric trick, but it only makes things worse. The passages you quote are too well known, too familiar. They feel jarring and stale at this particular moment. Despair overcomes you. They can hear you, but they are unable to listen. The twins told you the truth, but the mortal mind cannot grasp it. The mortal tongue cannot speak it. Overcome with the suffering born of this realization, you cut yourself off in mid-sentence. Did I understand you correctly, brother? You saw the elder taking away the people's lots that didn't suit them and giving them lots they wanted? Who even gave you permission to speak at a noble gathering, and to spout such utter nonsense, no less? If there's anything I glean from my brother's words, it's that the younger's righteous fury will be quick to find anyone who dares reject the lot. Tell me, brother, is this true? Now you're arguing over these matters too, just like the patriarchs of the faith. But as far as I know, not even they have made a final decision about the teachings of the late patriarch Fortis, so I am quite confident the truth will not be so easily found. Robert, what do you think? The lots have always been the cornerstone of our faith, but Father Leonard says that Isatius found only one path to serve the twins, and that there are other paths that one must seek alone. It's a lot to think about. If you ask me, I don't even think it's worth it anymore. Eternal bliss after you die for good. Is it even worth the suffering it costs us to serve the twins in this world? Nathan, shush. Nathan! What are you saying? How dare you speak such blasphemy of your father's house? Oh, God. What have we started? As the hosts and the main guests start to argue, younger nobles join in. Quiet voices go into loud shouts. Everyone wants to have a word and no one wants to listen. You can only watch in terror as anger contorts their faces. This is not what you wanted at all. But we had no choice. But your revelation only showed them what they each wanted to see. What was supposed to be a quiet evening has become a public scandal. You see this as an ill omen for the Empire and for the entire world. You squeeze past the shouting guests and family members and rush to your room. Your cheeks are burning. You spend several hours kneeling before the images of the twins. It is not a prayer, so much a frank conversation with them, like those you had as a little boy. You swear the twins to learn a lesson from your mistake. The clarity of your revelation must not be stained by the imperfections of your own words. AKA, get some more eloquence, you fool. Get to eloquence classes. Oh, my reputation can't get any worse. Our family is, oh my God, cast into the mud. Disagreements. Okay, family unity is getting worse. Our families are going into rack and ruin here. If they ever deign to give you another chance, you will not make the same mistake again. You swear to the twins and to yourself to read once again the text of every prophecy, the interpretation of every vision ever recorded, everything you can find on the subject. And then maybe, just maybe, you will be able to put your revelation into words with clarity, just like our Isatius did. Okay, we've got a little bit more eloquence. We need a hell of a lot more. That's not going to happen between now and the end of the game, surely. Okay. Ooh. Oh, hang on. We've got a secret chapter here. The illegitimate girl. A consequence of our previous actions. Ooh. Which means that we can't end the session just now because we'll have to do this, clearly. It's only 20 to 11. We've got 20 minutes. Your home is quiet tonight, which makes a change. Father is away arbitrating disputes in Magran villages. Stephen is visiting one of his high-placed patrons. After a dinner spent in silence, everyone retreats to their chambers. You're about to retire for the night when Gloria calls out to you. Benedict, wait a minute. I have an important favour to ask you. Your sister leads you to her lifetime refuge, the library. Here, in the shadows between the bookcases, you will not be overheard. Brother, I wish to speak with you before Stephen returns. His scheming is becoming unbearable. It's beyond Sir Robert's power to stop him, let alone Mother or Nathan. You're my only hope. You shrug. All families argue from time to time, but every quarrel has to end sooner or later. Yes, it will end, when Stephen finally gets rid of me. As far as he's concerned, I'm just a stumbling block and a stain on his father's good name. He lets me stay in the house only to avoid causing a scandal in high society. But as soon as the Brantes get his precious nobility of the sword, I'll be out on the street in the blink of an eye. Benedict, you don't want me to get kicked out of the family, do you? Please, you've got to help me. I need to convince Sir Robert to adopt me and make me legitimate. After that, it won't be so easy for Stephen to dispose of me, and then I won't bear the stigma of being a bastard anymore. I know Sir Robert would agree, if only by virtue of the love he has for our mother, but Stephen is standing in his way. Tell me, will you help me? An illegitimate child who has never known her father, a stranger in the family. Gloria looks at you with hopeful, pleading eyes. Of course we're going to help her. Of course we are. Oh, refusing her would have increased unity. Because it's probably the right thing to do. But no, we're an idiot. And we're going to help her. You give Gloria a firm embrace. Ever since you were children, she has always been by your side. The two of you may have different fathers, but she is your sister, and she must remain a member of this family. It is your duty to come to her aid. You will make sure Gloria becomes a Brante. The Brante's name is already in the toilet. Exactly, Joe. Exactly. Gloria lets out a sigh of relief and hugs you back. Oh, it makes me so happy to know you're on my side. You wait for Stephen to come home. Your brother returns from his visit mirthful and in high spirits. That's about to end. This is the perfect moment to have a talk. Ah, that went splendidly, brother. Magistrate L. Verman himself will support us. I'm on a friendly footing with his son now. It won't be long before we become nobles of the sword. But why are you still up? You raise the matter of your sister. The feud between Stephen and Gloria must end. Your brother seems to be unaware of how much damage it is inflicting on the family. But you know how to remedy it. The reason for everything is Gloria's lowly station. She should bear the Brante name. Your brother assumes a bored... A what? A bored mien? Ah... I thought he was going to kick off big style. Don't waste your time, brother. I know what Gloria's after. You mentioned damage to the family? Can you even fathom what this would mean for the Brante name? By allowing an illegitimate child into his family, our father would cover us all with an indelible shame. Several generations of Brantes to come would not even dare to dream of becoming nobles of the sword. By the twin gods, I will not let that happen. You attempt to point out to Stephen that Gloria's desperate situation is leading her to more and more audacious escapades. If your sister becomes a member of this family, she'll stop. Oh, believe me, Benedict, I want to see Gloria at peace as much as you do, but not at the cost of our entire family's future. Absolutely not. I have a different idea for Gloria, and I'm sure this solution will satisfy everyone involved. Good night. You let your sister know of Stephen's vehement denial. Gloria is so vexed she is shaking. So he wouldn't even hear us out? Is that it? He's willing to do anything just to drive me out, isn't he? Benedict, we need to think of something. Gloria will continue her battle for the right to stay with the family, and you have promised to help her. Oh. Well, that little saga will no doubt continue later in the chapter. Ooh, right, we have a confession, which we shall hear next time, of course, because it is now 10 to 11. I have a date with an Ovaltine, and some mindless YouTube videos for an hour before slipping into slumber. Right, so there you go, folks. Sunday story time is over for another week. Join me next Sunday for more as we continue this fantastic game. Absolutely loving it. But I'm kind of nervous that we might not get to the end, but we'll see what happens. So yes, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, your evenings, wherever you are, folks, and we return once again with some tales from the cliffs of Amber Yeah, can't wait for that. Love CK2, loving the story, and who knows, maybe tomorrow will be the day that Barristan makes the family High Lord status. Who knows? Maybe, just maybe. We'll have to see. So that'll be starting probably pretty much 7 p.m. sharp, so that we can get a good 4 hours in tomorrow. Good long session. So that'll be cool. But anyway, thank you for watching, as always, folks, and hopefully you can join us next time for some more of Benedict Brante's escapades. But yeah, go forth, folks, enjoy the rest of what is left of this weekend, and hope you all have a fantastic week next week. But until then, folks, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Love this music, by the way. So flipping good, isn't it?